across the UK, online and on DAB.
Get an earful of unusual nocturnal emissions with radio's Lord of Misrule, Iain Lee. No relation, thank God.
Unfiltered Night Talk with the original king of unconventional conversation.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Slightly different show this evening, dear listener. Good evening. I know we were going to do the musical hour and we were all going to sing for the first hour. That's going to happen. It's going to happen at a later date. But other things have happened. Other people have been deprived of their music. Were you going to the Hope and Glory Festival? In Liverpool this weekend, some great bands. Lightning Seeds. Who doesn't love the Lightning Seeds? James, the brilliant James, Star Sailor, Badly Drawn Boy, Charlotte Church. It was a two-day festival. With profits going to help the victims of the Manchester bombing. And over the weekend, I'll be honest, I was completely unaware of it. And over the weekend, I've just started checking Twitter moments. You know, there's that thing where it can tell you news stories. And more often than not, they're quite tedious and quite dull. But there was this one about the Hope and Glory Festival being cancelled halfway through, ending shambolically. And I clicked on it and I flicked through some of the stories, some of the tweets relating to it. And it seemed that a significant number of people had a really lousy weekend. Some people enjoyed their weekend, and we're going to get both sides of the story. But just to fill us in on some of the details and exactly what it was and what happened, let's speak to Lorna Hughes from the Liverpool Echo. Good evening, Lorna.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So tell us about the Hope and Glory Festival. What was it supposed to be?
Well, it was supposed to be a celebration of indie music, really. Bands from the last few years, and all around St George's Hall in Liverpool. People from all over the country were coming along to listen to their favourite bands and enjoy the weekend in the city, really. It was supposed to be a celebration.
It didn't end up a celebration, did it?
No, it didn't at all, no. It seemed to start off okay, then long delays built up to get into the festival. There was overcrowding, the Charlotte Church was axed from the bill. Nothing was running to plan. We were told it was crowded. People were queuing up. They couldn't even get in if they had tickets.
And when did you first hear about it, Lorna? By the way, the Liverpool Echo has been doing, stunning work on this. So well done, you and your team. When did you first hear that things perhaps weren't going according to plan?
Well, we were covering it from the very beginning. It started around lunchtime on Saturday, and I think from the beginning it was obvious there were problems. There were queues all the way down the road. People were saying they couldn't get in. Their tickets weren't being checked, and they were letting people in who didn't have tickets. So there was a lot of frustration on social media pretty much straight away. So
one of the things that grabbed my attention about this story, and perhaps caused me to focus on it a bit more rather than just swipe through as we do these days, was it was announced on Twitter and Facebook Sunday morning. I don't know the exact time, but Sunday morning that it had been cancelled.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of confusion at first. People didn't know what was going on. At first, they said it was going to go ahead as planned, and then all of a sudden, these three words appeared on Twitter and Facebook: festival not on today, or whatever the words were that they used, and that really sent people into a spiral of confusion, really, because it wasn't very clear at all why that was happening and what the problems were.
Have you spoken to some? I've spoken to quite a few, and have you spoken to people that were there? And if so, what have they told you, Lorna?
Yeah, I have. I was down there yesterday to see what was happening, to see if it was going to go on for a second day.
Okay.
There were people, some of them had paid up to £600 to be in Liverpool for the weekend for tickets, hotel, transport. There was a couple there from Northampton, a couple from Glasgow, and they just didn't know what was going on. They were prepared to give it a chance. They knew that there were problems from the first day, but that they they were just furious, really, that nobody had told them what was going on, and the lack of professionalism that the organisers had displayed.
I've heard rumours that there was a young lady from Canada there, and we have spoken to a young lady called Isabel. We spoke to her before the show. We might play it out later on tonight. Who travelled all the way from Germany to come to the festival, and people did spend a lot of money. One of the issues, I've got to say, we've got Leo Hanlon from Tiny Cow, who is the organiser of the event. He's waiting on the line, so I'm going to bring him into the conversation in a few minutes. We'll get to hear his side of the story. People were worried about safety, weren't they? About the number of people that were there, and a lot of the people I've spoken to said it felt very crushed.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I think the organisers denied in a statement earlier on, but everyone we spoke to, I think, without exception, said that they felt it was unsuitable. They felt it was overcrowded. There wasn't enough space. There was a bottleneck building up. So there were real concerns. But one woman I spoke to was in tears at one point. She said she was concerned for her safety in there.
Gosh. I want to end this as well, because I know some people were slightly worried this was going to turn into a Liverpool bashing, and au contraire, because one of the great things that we noticed, Catherine, my producer, and I, when we were going on Twitter, is the number of venues and bars and clubs in Liverpool that saw there was a problem and stepped up to the plate, didn't they? They kind of opened their doors.
Absolutely. I mean, it started off as pretty embarrassing for Liverpool, really, but the way everyone's rallied around, particularly the independent bars, restaurants, music venues, Lightning Seeds were playing at the Zanzibar. The people couldn't do enough, really, to make sure that Liverpool made up for the disappointment of all these people who paid up to like £90 and didn't have anywhere to go and enjoy the music.
We're going to speak. We're going to speak to one of the bands later on. We spoke to Reverend and the Makers earlier on, and we're going to speak to a couple of the venues as well that stepped in. Lorna, if people want to check out the Liverpool Echo, where's the best place to go these days? Because you can get local papers anywhere in the world.
You can check out all our coverage. It's liverpoolecho.co.uk, and follow us on Twitter as well.
Keep listening, Lorna, and keep in touch, and we'll speak again. Thanks for that.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, so this, if you were there, 0344 499 1000. If you were there and you had a great time, 0344 499 1000. The gentleman responsible for the Hope and Glory Festival is Leo Hanlon from Tiny Cow. He joins me now. Evening, Lee.
Good evening. I'm actually speaking on behalf of Hope and Glory Festival.
Okay, what's the difference?
The difference is an entirely different company.
Okay, but you are with Tiny Cow?
I am as well, yes. But the festival was put on by Hope and Glory Festival Limited.
Okie dokie. Because on the Tiny Cow website, it does go into great detail about your history in putting on festivals, doesn't it?
Yes, it would do, but I just felt it was an important distinction to make.
Okay. Why did you cancel?
I withdrew from operating on the festival because I felt... Sorry, there's a lot of echo in the background. I can hear myself on your end.
Hang on a second. I'm going to switch you to this line. Does that work any better?
That's great.
There we go.
Oh, no, hang on, it's back.
I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to call... Catherine, can you call Lee back immediately, please? Because we'll sort that out.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
Right, let's try that. Lee, can you hear me?
Oh, that's loads better, thank you.
There we go. Leo Hanlon from the Hope and Glory Festival. Why did you cancel?
I withdrew from working on the festival and said that I felt we should cancel the event because I felt that the festival wasn't safe. There were issues with the production management, the company that we brought in, and the council had previously, Liverpool Council, had previously advised in a meeting with both obviously themselves and the Blue Light Services that the festival area that had been identified could have a capacity of 15,000. I didn't feel that was correct in that meeting, and we agreed to reduce it by several thousand more.
But at what point did you think it was unsafe?
I noticed that there was a part of the site, which was the movement of traffic in between St John's Gardens and William Brown Street, that had built up. And so I noticed there was a lot of people going both ways, and that had reached a bit of a bottleneck. As a result, I contacted a PCSO that was on site and asked him to contact a senior member of the police to come and discuss and advise with me.
But surely you knew what the layout of the site was. You would have been able to have seen any bottlenecks before people got there. You knew there were going to be 12,500 people there. You would know where the narrow areas were and where people wanted to get to. Did you not foresee that?
Yes, we did. We were at far below our capacity when this issue first arose. One of the issues that we take with the production management team, that it was steered by a gentleman called...
No, I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear anybody else's names because they're not here to defend themselves. I appreciate what you're saying, Lee, but let's.
I think it's important on the show.
Sorry.
As they were integral to the issues.
Yeah, I don't want any. I don't want to mention anybody's names because that would be unfair.
Okay, well, the production management team that were commissioned to deliver the show.
But you are ultimately responsible for the show.
Oh, absolutely, and we accept that.
And it does.
That's why we work with professional companies.
At what point,
history ourselves.
Lee? At what point did you? At what time on Saturday did you notice the bottlenecking and think it was unsafe?
Well, that's what I was trying to give you the answer to. With all due respect, Ian, we noticed mid-afternoon that there was a problem with that, and what I was hoping to be able to tell you was that the reasons for that. We, in our consultations with the local authority, advised them that we would put in a bridge, or have our production management company put in a bridge across part of the wall between William Brown Street and St John's Gardens. That would provide an additional route in or out of the gardens. As the production management company effectively opened the site 2 hours later, almost, than we agreed, and an hour later than advertised, they also, in that time, did not deliver the bridge.
You shouldn't have allowed them to open then. If you thought that was going to cause a safety issue, you, as the organiser of the event, should not have allowed that to open then, should you? You were putting people at risk.
Again, you're jumping in there, Ian, before...
Well, because the answers seem to be quite long and rambling and pointing the finger elsewhere.
No, look, they're not long and rambling, and we...
Trust me, they are.
We accept full responsibility, Ian, but it is important...
Do you agree?
I cannot give you the answer to this in 5 seconds.
Do you agree that you should not have opened the festival if you thought it was unsafe?
If I thought it was unsafe, I wouldn't.
But so you thought it was safe, then changed your mind?
Ian, I was advised by the production management company that the level of ticket sales was so far below the capacity that it wouldn't be unsafe. When I identified that there was a bottleneck occurring...
So capacity would have been unsafe?
Personally, that stopped all on-the-day ticket sales.
So capacity...
And called the police.
So if it had reached full capacity, it would have been unsafe?
I agree, I think it would have.
Wow. So you were prepared to put on an event...
no, I wasn't.
Had it been full capacity, would have been unsafe. I spoke to Liverpool or City Council...
Hang on a second, Ian. You've made a comment there that is simply untrue.
OK.
You said that I would be prepared to put on an event that was unsafe, and that is simply untrue.
Well, you said if it had reached capacity, it would have been unsafe.
Ian, what I told you specifically was that I identified that the bridge hadn't been put in place. I identified the numbers were growing. I identified that there was a in the day far greater than was expected. I stopped the sale of on-the-day ticket sales, and I held the gates whilst I investigated the problem with the police to ensure the safety of all of the public.
Do you think that the security measures on the gates, in terms of checking people's tickets and checking people's bags, was sufficient?
What I can tell you, and there is so far that I can go, and far more I would like to say, that there is an investigation that we are undertaking into a number of aspects that will identify if what we requested versus what was delivered was
Because
met.
can I tell you what I've been told by some people that were there?
Of course.
That people, as they went through, weren't always asked to show their tickets. So some people had day tickets, some people had weekend tickets. And several people I've spoken to walked through, did not show their tickets, and were asked which wristband they wanted, whether they wanted a day wristband or a weekend wristband. Also, several people did not have their bags checked. Now, after Manchester and the horrific events that happened there, people should have had their bags searched, shouldn't they?
I couldn't agree with you more on that. If that proves to be the case as part of the investigation, then we will take serious issue with the security company that were employed.
But you are responsible for the people's security and safety. But I've had people saying it could have been another Hillsborough.
Right. Of course we are responsible for their security and safety, and that is why we advised our security company that was employed to deliver on that aspect of the event, a professional security company, and we ensured that it was a company that had worked extensively in Liverpool, including with the local authority, were employed to do that. Now, you're telling me some things that are the first time of me hearing them.
That's not the first time you've heard it. You've been tweeted that, and it's been commented on Facebook.
Well, 1 second. That's incorrect, and I think it's important that you are equally honest with your listeners. And if you're saying that I have personally been told something and I've just told you I have not, then please feel free to prove so.
Why are you pretending it wasn't you on Twitter last night, sending abusive tweets to the ACT and the disappointed audience?
I'm not pretending anything. I have taken control of our Twitter account.
That was you on Twitter last night, Lee?
That is incorrect.
How come when I spoke to you this morning and I asked you about the Twitter, you said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that now"?
That's quite right, yeah.
Well, why didn't you say that? Why didn't you just say to me that wasn't me on Twitter last night?
Iain, you're trying to make something that isn't, and I'm more than happy.
You were abusive to the people. You were abusive to the bands and the disappointed people.
That is incorrect. Actually, I think what you will find, Iain, if you actually go and check your facts on that matter, that we have taken action with the person that was concerned.
Who was it?
In that respect. Hang on, Iain, please. You keep making statements.
Well, because you don't keep answering the questions honestly, Lee.
I am answering them. I am asked.
Just put your hands up and say it was you on Twitter sending abuse to the lead singer of James, and that's fine.
Look, it wouldn't be fine. I have worked with James a number of times. I have utter respect for the band, utter respect for their agent, who is one of the greatest agents in the world, let alone the country. I have a great relationship with him, and I'm sure he will know that I would not have done a thing like that. And the person responsible has been dealt with, and I've been open and transparent on Twitter, stated the date and time that I've taken back control of the Twitter account myself. And I have answered people extensively this evening, as I have people that have called me on my personal mobile phone.
Yes, and you answered my call, and I appreciate that. And I hope you've seen.
And you're not the only one. Customers have, because there have been people that attended the festival that put my home address.
And I've told people online to stop doing that.
You did, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
My home address, pictures of my child.
Yeah, there's no need for that. And I agree, that's outrageous, and that's awful, and I've asked people not to do that.
And Iain, there were things wrong with this festival. I am one man answering your questions about what I personally did to try and address them.
How do people get a refund?
What it ultimately comes down to
is you screwed up.
I did not. What ultimately comes down to is that I took decisions that ensured the safety of everybody. Far beyond profit or having a good time or anything like that, I will always, always put the safety of the people that come to our events first.
How do people get refunds?
There have been a number of statements.
You tell us, as the organiser, how do people get their money back?
Okay, so I may have been in the role of organiser, but there are other directors of the company.
There are two other directors, aren't there? And one of them's your wife.
Yeah, I thought you didn't want to name names, so you're contradicted. If you've, wife, I will name Rachel Gar, the production manager.
I've not named her. I haven't, Lee. I haven't named her.
Did.
No, I didn't name her. I didn't.
It would not be a shock to think that she was Mrs. O'Hanlon.
Lee.
So, Ian, I have been honourable in this.
Lee, I've not named her.
Show to do.
No, I haven't named her. No, I haven't.
You've identified her.
The details are registered at the company's house.
And the details of Paul Mancy at Paramount Security
Okay. Well, listen, now you're being childish, Lee. I'm being sincere. So you're saying you have to talk to the other company directors. Well, one of them is your best friend and one of them is your wife. When are you going to talk to them?
Not my best friend, and I've learned information about him today that...
When are you going to talk to them and find out... When are you going to tell people how they can get a refund? Because you've been saying they should go to the tickets, where they bought the tickets from.
Yes, contrary, haven't they? I'm aware of that.
Skiddle have said that Skiddle and Eventbrite have said no, that you are the person to go to.
What, me personally?
The company, Lee, that you are a director of, along with your wife and your friend.
Actually, I'm not a director of that company, so you're misinforming your listeners there.
How do people get a refund, Lee?
Would you like to correct yourself there? Because I'm not
If you're not a company director, then I humbly apologise on air, even though you're making yourself sound petty. How do people get a refund, Lee?
Look, that was an atrocious comment by you, wasn't it?
How do people get a refund, Lee?
You just accused me of being immature on Twitter.
Lee,
when it wasn't.
How do people... Lee, how do people get a refund?
People will get all the refund information and all the ticketing information as has been posted on the Facebook page.
Well, you're telling people to go to Eventbrite and Skiddle, and they're saying it's nothing to do with them.
Ian, is there any point in me answering your questions when you interrupt me midway through?
All right, I'm going to answer this question. I'll be quiet. How do people get a refund?
What people will do in order to get a refund, they will need to contact their ticketing company. We are providing on Facebook tomorrow evening an update. I have been in consultation with a number of different ticketing companies, of which there were, I believe, 7 today. I have written to the other director, who is a 50% shareholder in the festival. I have asked him to make a decision, and I've asked him, because he has to as well, as you will appreciate, I have asked him to make a decision that the first of the refunds can take place.
Why are you telling people? Why are you telling people to go to the ticket? The people they bought the ticket from, when Skiddle are saying it's not their responsibility.
You're right. Okay, as I said, there were 7. I think
let's talk about Skiddle. Let's talk about Skiddle first of all. They're saying that they have no access or authority to process refunds. The only party who can authorise a refund at this stage are the event organiser. You.
Yes, and that is incorrect. If I was in the position of event organiser and I'm not the director of the company...
So you're not the event organiser?
No, that isn't what I said, Ian. Listen to what I'm saying.
I'm trying to, but it's a little bit rambling.
It's not rambling. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as you would hope it would be with 5-second sound bites. Now, I can give you the entire information, Ian.
Skiddle have no access to process refunds. The only party who can authorise... Well, no, because what you're doing... Lee, what you're doing... What you're doing is what you did in your statement, and you're kind of pointing the finger elsewhere. There are people... I've spoken to families who spent £1,000...
Do you know something, Ian? If I went to an event and it transpired the way that this one did, I would feel exactly the same as these people. I think it is desperately sad what happened with this event.
You let them down, didn't you?
I personally did not. You're not interested in what the issues were. We accept full responsibility for it as an overall. It's ultimately our event to deliver.
You have previous, don't you?
We have the ability. It's important that we have the ability to review what happened and identify where those issues were.
Did you review
the finger of blame?
No.
That is not pointing the finger of blame, but that is providing people with clear and concise information about what truly happened.
Did you review what happened with your Jacksons concert on the Isle of Man in 2014 and Tom Jones in July 2015 and August 2015?
Okay, you're talking about 3 different events, all of which
went tits
happened.
up.
No, they didn't.
One lost £100,000. The other one you claimed that tickets were being triple printed, and another one there was awful sound and people were very unhappy.
Okay, would you like me to address any of those claims?
Well, I'm just wondering if you've learned how many more lessons do you need to learn before families can spend £1,000 and not feel frightened that their children might be crushed or killed by a bomber?
First of all, you have given incorrect information to your listenership. Second of all, I can tell by some of the comments that you made there, it has been from your friend, who I will not name, that you've received some of that information.
All of this is freely available on Google.
That gentleman was convicted.
All of this is on Google in the news stories.
Look, Google News Stories does not make it fact.
No, but do you deny these things happened?
Sorry?
Do you deny these things happened?
I do indeed deny that some of that happened, yes.
Wow, okay. So you've not learned... Are you in the wrong business, Lee?
No, I'm not, Ian. I'm wondering if you are, because your service is supposed to provide honest and transparent and reasonable interviews with people, and yet you're choosing to speak over me every time you ask a question, and every time I try and give an honest and frank answer.
Well, I apologise for that.
Listenership.
I apologise.
What do you apologise for? You've done it time and time again.
Would
Ian,
you? I tell you what.
We spoke earlier in the day,
yeah,
and I said to you, did I not? I am more than happy to come on your show and give honest answers to you.
Well, I'm hoping that will happen at some point this evening. Would you like to speak to some of the people that were there?
Oh, I certainly would.
Trevor, you were at the festival. You're through to Leo Hanlon.
Hi there. Hi.
Hello, Trevor. How are you this evening?
I'm not too bad.
Trevor, what was your experience like?
From the moment I got there, after we spent an hour queuing, we got in. We didn't have any issues at security. They seemed to scan the ticket correctly. We got in and thought, oh, this looks like a nice site. And I'll be honest, it was nicely presented. The stages, I thought, were a bit small considering the sort of act that we're on. It was all going well. We knew there was massive delays, which was obviously a bit of a nightmare. I was already worried that I'd missed Badly Drawn Boy, when it turns out at that point we were already 2 hours behind with the acts. Very little information. That was the most frustrating thing. There was nothing on Facebook or Twitter to give an update. I think we'd been in there maybe 45 minutes. We went to the toilet, saw the massive queue. I said to my missus, I said, I'll go to the bar while you're at the toilets. Now, the toilets and the bar were either side of this one entrance exit where the bottlenecks were happening. I don't think I saw her for another hour after that, with both of us trying to get through the queues at a separate point, queues for the bar, queues for the toilets. That's when I thought, we've got a lot of people here.
Would you like me to respond to Trevor?
Yes, please, yeah.
Hi, Trevor. I think I know the area that you're identifying. There were actually three bars plus a cocktail and gin bar in the arena. There were numerous toilets in different positions around the arena. The main stage, I appreciate what you just said about the stages. The second stage was as big as you would see at any festival of that size. The main stage was almost the height of the World Museum. So I have to admit, I'm not quite sure about the comments on the stages. I'm very upset that the festival didn't pan out the way it should have for everyone. I'm pleased to hear equally that your tickets were scanned properly by the team in place. Is there anything that you would like me to specifically answer, Trevor?
I mean, for me, ultimately, you say about the bars and the toilets. The main setup where the gates for the entrance led into the top bar, which led into the gap between the fields, which led into the toilet. Unless you went looking away from the main stages, I didn't see another bank of toilets all day.
Okay, there were
bar, but I didn't see them. There was no signposts. Even the men's urinals behind the toilets weren't signposted. The only reason I knew they were there is because I saw somebody go in there planning to basically wee against a wall because they didn't want to queue. And then they come out and said, oh, there's urinals behind there.
Right, okay, well, I can answer that. Events are run on there's a sort of minimum delivery on events of that size, and that's contained in something called the Purple Guide. What I can advise you of, for the attendees that were there were far more toilets than the Purple Guide, which is like the event manual, a Bible, if you like, advise on. And there were other toilets around the site, and there was signage for them. Apologies if you didn't see them, but I think it's important to explain that.
Trevor, you happy with that?
I didn't see any anywhere. At the top bank, there was maybe 25 portaloos and the urinals behind. Even if there was an equal number down the bottom end, that's still only 50 urinals for a potential 12,500 people.
If I was in front of my computer now, Trevor, I'd be able to give you the exact number. And for the attendees that were in there, as I said, it was far in excess of the Purple Guide's recommendations.
Trevor, thank you very much for that. Let's speak to Liam. Liam, you were there. What was your experience?
It was just absolutely dreadful.
Go
on. We got there at about 12:30, didn't get in till about 1:30.
Which day was this, Liam? The Saturday?
This was the Saturday, yeah. When we got in, like Trevor said, it was a lovely venue, beautifully set out. Did seem a bit small for 12,000 people, but we thought, oh well, let's see how this goes. Got a drink, went fine, went to the front, met some friends, and then Clay only just came on as we got to the front, and that was about, I don't know, about 1:30, nearly 2 o'clock. So that's 2 hours late already. Then, obviously, the aid came off, and it was just taking so long for them to change over the set.
Liam, I think you got your radio on. Switch it off if you can. That was one of the complaints from a lot of people, that there was the turnover time between bands was so long that there was no way you were going to keep to schedule.
Well, that wasn't
your
the
fault.
issue. The turnover time wasn't the issue.
Right.
If you recall earlier in the conversation, I said to you that we basically agreed with the local authority that we were going to open the gates at 11.
Yes.
And we were going to advertise them as noon. That the purpose of that was to be that if there was an early walk up of people with tickets that were ready there early, we were going to process them early and thus help with any potential queues. Because the production management company, and I won't say his name again because you've asked me not to, didn't have the site ready on time, it meant that effectively we opened 50 minutes later than advertised and an hour and 50 minutes later than had been intended.
And drop some of the acts.
Well, I'll address all of that for you. That meant that in that time there was a huge build-up of a queue that we wouldn't have otherwise had, that was almost impossible to then deal with. Now, with it being a city centre as well, obviously people find it a lot easier to arrive quicker. So what that meant was that from the outset, the failings, as I perceive them, of the production management company meant that we were always on the back foot.
But it was, Lee, it was your company that did it. You're responsible for it.
The company was Bravura.
No. But you Hope and Glory Festival. You organised it. You were on Facebook saying, "I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm living my dream. This is great. Who's ready for it?" You were the face of it when it was going well, but when it was going badly,
I'm on your show now,
pointing the finger.
Ian, I'm on your show now that it has.
Your statement talks about stolen sandwiches.
No, it doesn't. You're being silly.
Your statement talks about food that was given out. I think it was given to the homeless, wasn't it?
Ian, you have just thrown in sandwiches, haven't you?
Foodstuffs.
You're being petty.
Shall we read it?
Can we answer? Give me the opportunity to answer the comments that your listener has utterly...
You're the one that mentions a pint of milk. You mention a pint of milk in your statement.
Ian, you're not even letting your listeners have the answers to the questions they'd asked.
Well, we finish at 1.
Well, look, Ian, I've come on your show. I'm prepared to answer their questions. Please do me the courtesy of allowing me to do that.
Liam, do you want your money back?
I do, yeah.
Were you there for both days?
Well, Sunday never happened.
Right, but you had a ticket for Sunday. Lee, can you give Liam his money back?
I will finish answering the question that he asked, and then I will come on to that,
Brilliant.
Of course. What it meant was that those delays, that the main stage started later. The time meant that the time that was lost was the best part of 2 hours in the end. That meant that of the top 5 acts, we had to shorten their sets to ensure that everybody saw as many of those acts as possible. The View that were the band fifth from top had their sets shortened. I got together. I dismissed the production manager and made him leave the site because the situation became so severe in the failings. I got the top 3 acts tour managers together and said, look, gentlemen, this is the situation. It's not one I've ever experienced at one of the shows I've been involved with before. Let us all just talk sensibly and reasonably and decide how we're going to do that. Sadly, with 4 acts remaining at that juncture, I had to make a decision on which act to drop. Charlotte is the most wonderful...
Church.
Yeah, Charlotte Church is Late Night Pop Dungeon is the most wonderful show that I'm sure would have thrilled the audience. And yes, I had to make the decision. I had 4 acts left.
Okay.
I could reduce the sets of 3.
How does Liam get a refund?
The refund's dependent on...
Give him his money. Go on.
Tell you. Ian,
give him his money. Go on.
Petty.
No, it's not.
Give him his money. Go on.
Lee, I'm sorry. 89. Lee,
on the phone line now.
Lee,
don't be silly. Ian.
89 quid a pop. Hang on a second, Lee. Just acknowledge what you said. 89 quid. 89 quid a ticket is not petty. Lee, you're rambling. You're rambling and you're slurring. Liam, shock jock doesn't mean anything.
Silly. And don't be offensive about the speech of a person.
Lee, you didn't slur this morning when I spoke to you.
What are you suggesting, Ian?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm suggesting you're not. I'm suggesting you're not focused enough. Okay,
I'm actually focused. I'm focused on the fact.
Then give Liam his money back, Lee. Give him his money back.
Oh, aren't you a ranter?
Give him his money back.
You know, Ian, it's just as well I don't behave as you do, isn't it?
Give him his money back, Lee. 90 quid a ticket is not petty.
No, but your behaviour is...
Some people spent £1,000 coming to your festival that was a complete and utter balls up. Pull your socks up, dude, and sort it out.
Ian, stop acting like a shock jock. It's not impressive.
No one's impressed by you pointing the finger.
No, we've identified the blame, not pointing the finger. There is a difference and an important...
You're embarrassing yourself, Lee. This is your chance to redeem yourself. Give Liam his money back.
Bless you, Ian. You're all about the ranting and shouting yourself and not allowing me to answer the question.
Give Liam his money back.
Oh, Ian, I think you see an opportunity to go down in folklore behaving this way.
I'll tell you what, Lee. Lee, listen to this. This is how a gentleman behaves. Liam?
Yes?
If you stay on the line and speak to Kath, I'll get you 90 quid, okay?
It was, to be fair, it was 2 of them. It was 100.
I'm only giving you one of them. Liam.
Well said, Liam.
Liam, you stay on the line. I'll send you a cheque for 90 quid, all right? Out of my own pocket. Because I know that 90 quid is a lot of money.
Of course it is, and I utterly recognise that.
Offer to pay the other 90 quid, then. Offer to pay...
Okay, go on, then I'll go halves with you, then.
No, not halves with me. I'm paying 90, you pay 90.
That's what I said. He just told you there were 2 people.
Right, why the bloody hell am I paying for your mistakes, O'Hanlon?
It's not my mistakes. You're not interested. Ian, are you going to honour what you just said to that gentleman?
Yeah.
I will.
Yes, I am, mate. Because I'm a man of my word. I don't go on Twitter and pretend I'm someone else.
And neither do I.
Liam, stay there. Speak to Catherine. We'll get your details. Aaron.
Hi.
Hey, Aaron. You were there. What was it like for you?
As soon as we rolled up, you could see it was total chaos from the queues outside. There was no information of what time bands were on or anything. And we were told to go to the box office because we needed to get a separate wristband because we needed to go to and from this venue to drop our son off because we were coming back on the Sunday. So we got put into another queue. And then when we got there, we got shown to 2 guys who were on the guest list. As soon as we come to the box office window, it was Lee who come to the window and the guy who was on the guest list gave his name and he just Lee just gave him a nod and didn't even bother looking to see if he was on the guest list. Put the wristband on them.
I wouldn't have needed to with some, in all fairness, because I put the guest list together, so I would have known some of the names.
They didn't even give you the names, because do you want to tell you why? Because the lad was with a girl, and the girl was going to buy a ticket because she never had one. Well, you end up giving her a wristband without buying a ticket, because he just said he was on the guest list and he put 2 of them in.
Well, we would have gone off our guest list.
And then we had to speak to you to guide us to get wristbands to come back with our child. And we asked you if you needed to scan our tickets, and you said no, and you didn't scan our tickets.
The tickets there were scanners for all of the tickets there. If you were bringing back your child, the reason you would have had a separate wristband to go in and out was that after Manchester, I decided not to allow re-entry, but to make them
no different to anybody else's there.
Right, what we decided to do was make wristbands for re-entry available to people that had young children, or, for example, if they had a medical condition that meant they needed to occasionally return to their hotel. So that was an extra thing that we did for people that was meant to be an extra service to enable you to do that.
We waited an extra half an hour in the queue to get a wristband that you said that we had to queue up for, but then it was no other than any other different wristbands.
No, I'm not sure I agree with that.
And then we asked you if you need to scan our tickets, because our tickets were on a phone, and you said no, it's fine. So you personally never scanned 3 tickets.
I don't agree with that.
That's not safe, is it, Lee?
No, that
wouldn't be safe, and I don't agree that was the case.
So Aaron's lying?
I'm just saying I don't agree that would have been the case.
So he's a liar?
No, you definitely did, and you give us we asked could we get our son's wristband, because we come on the Saturday to make sure the venue was okay and be safe.
Are you the gentleman with the little one that was in the pushchair outside?
No. We didn't bring our son on the Saturday. Me and my girlfriend come on the Saturday to do a recce of it to make sure it was okay, and then we were going to bring them back on the Sunday. So we asked you at the window, could we have a wristband for our son, because we don't want to have to queue up again to bring him on the Sunday. To which you give us the kids' wristband, give us our wristband, and then we said, do you want to scan our ticket? And you went, no, it's fine.
Our wristband was just the same as everybody else's wristband. There was no difference. I'm not sure what point is being made, but
it was unsafe, and you were allowing people in without looking at their tickets.
As soon as I walked in, I knew the place wasn't safe. He's saying there was a ramp meant to go in. There was no chance the ramp could have went anywhere. There was no chance there was a ramp able to go on that wall.
Oh, no, that is incorrect, Ian. What we would
I thought it might be, Lee. I had a feeling it might be.
I've been a lot of festivals, and I've seen, as soon as I walked in, I could see the way the main stage was set up, the way the bar was and the toilet, and straight away from my partner, I said to where I went,
do you remember the layout near to the main stage?
Is it Aaron's fault?
No, I'm asking Aaron, does he...
No, but is it his fault? Is it the cab driver?
I can draw it for you perfectly.
Okay, fantastic. So let me...
Is it the bloke selling chips' fault? Whose fault is it this time, Lee?
Ian, this is not about anybody's fault. I think you're being ridiculous and petty.
I think you're being very rude to people that have spent a lot of money on a weekend you ballsed up.
No, I haven't been rude to anyone. I've utter sympathy with everybody that went there that had a less than fantastic time.
How much money did you raise for the victims of the Manchester bomb?
At this point, with the cancellation of the festival would run at a loss. We decided straight after the Manchester incident that we would donate all the ticket profits from the inaugural festival to the Manchester Fund.
Inaugural?
Now we announced that prior to the announcement of the One Love concert even.
Yes.
So please let's not get into anything. We are devastated.
Well, hang on a minute.
We're not a bit upset. Hang on, we're devastated, not a bit upset.
So are the families that spent £1,000 and felt their children were unsafe.
Of course, and how awful is that?
So just to clarify, exactly how much money from the ticket sales is going towards the Manchester victims?
At present, I couldn't tell you. What I expect to be the case
Zero.
is that there aren't profits from the ticket sales. Yes, I do expect that to be the case. What I can tell you is that there was every intention to give every penny.
Well, where is the money then, Lee? Because you're not giving refunds and you're not giving the money to the victims of the Manchester bomb attacks. I'm just wondering where the money is.
Really, you'd be that adrift, Ian, of understanding
I can't follow...
that?
Yeah, I can't. I'm not a business mind like yourself, so tell me, where is the money?
Well, let me tell you something, Ian. When you put on an event of that size, let me ask you a question. You're full of questions for me, and you don't listen to your answers, and I will listen to yours. When you put on an event of that size, with artists of that level, in the city centre, how much do you think it costs to put on a festival of that size?
Lee, I'm not a festival organiser. Neither are you, it would appear, but...
I'm terminating the call because I'm not...
Sorry?
I have come on...
Say hello to Sean. Sean, you were there, weren't you, Sean?
Ian, I'm going to terminate...
Lee, speak to Sean.
Sean a moment. Give me Sean a moment, because I would like to answer any question you have.
The
problem we have on this call at the moment, and I've been on the radio...
Where is the money?
45 minutes... All we have is a shock jock that wants to know where is the money?
Is the money?
I even anticipated.
Well, because the money was supposed to go to the Manchester victims, and it's not. It's not going back to the people who had their weekends ruined. So where is the money?
You're not allowing me to answer. You're going to let me give a full and
The question is, where is the money? Let's hear your answer.
The answer to the question, where is the money, is that it costs a fortune to put on a show at that level. We promised and committed that we would donate to the Manchester Fund every penny of ticket profit sales. At the moment, I don't think there will be profit sales because of the cancellation of the second day of the festival.
But you're not refunding people.
I think the festival will be a loss. You're making an assumption that we are not refunding
Well, you've
people.
said that you're not going to refund people.
No, I have not.
Well, you're sending...
No, I have not.
You're sending them to the ticket sources.
Ian, all you are proving that you and your friend Joel Young was convicted for harassment for 5 years restraining order against us. All you are proving that you are embellishing upon that.
No, not at all, Lee.
You have not allowed me to answer your questions once.
Lee, you've had 45 minutes.
I have. And
say hello to Sean, who was there.
After 45 minutes, not a single question. Do not interrupt.
All right, answer Sean's question. Sean, what was your experience like?
Sean, thank you for coming on this show, and I hope I can give you your answers to your questions.
Hi, Lee. How are you doing? You okay?
I've had better days, of course, Sean. I hope you have too.
I can imagine so. So just a couple of things to pick up on in terms of the capacity and the ticketing, really. I don't know what your feedback's been, but our experience on the day was that entering the venue, we were in a small party of 6. Some of that party, their tickets didn't actually scan. We were told by security they'd already been used, at which point they were granted entry anyway and asked whether they were there for a day or for 2. So that's 2 people out of a small party who didn't, as far as your security were aware, have a valid ticket, and were then asked if they were staying for 1 day or for 2.
Can I ask you, Sean, who was the ticket company that you purchased your tickets through?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it's their fault, Sean.
I'll tell you. Behave, please.
They
Ian.
probably got the mac and the sandwiches as well.
Ian, would you like to take the opportunity at last, after 45 minutes, to be mature and not interrupt?
I apologise, Mr. Hanlon.
You apologise a lot, but you keep doing it. Sean, the reason I would say that it matters is that you've just told me that 2 of their tickets wouldn't scan. Now, my understanding is that when tickets won't scan, that's generally because they've already been used. If there was an issue with the ticket scanning, I would want to address that directly with the ticketing company concerned.
But I think that's kind of the point, that if there was an issue and the perception from the security point of view was that the tickets hadn't been used, surely those...
Then why was the security let you in? Look, Sean, I agree with you on that.
I'm not complaining because I entered, but my point is that...
No, of course, but I agree with you that...
You couldn't possibly have known how many people were in the venue, and if they were then given wristbands by asking whether you're there for a day or 2, you would have had no way of knowing how many people were going to be there on Sunday.
I agree, Sean, and it's not before Ian suggested pointing the finger at someone else. I would really love to know who the ticketing company was, so I can ask them if there was any issues with the scanning, and equally go back to the security company and ask them if they will verify to me.
There were issues, weren't there, at one of the Tom... Hang on a second, Sean. There were issues at one of the Tom Jones concerts with tickets being printed by one of the venues, weren't they?
You're talking about a different
That's
company.
a coincidence, isn't it?
You're talking about a different show. You're also talking about a theatre company, not a major ticketing company. And look, let's be of no mistake here. We had major ticketing companies, and what Sean is identifying is that there may have been an issue.
Okay.
What we also have in place, though, and I think it's important to note, is that rather than just the tickets, there are people available on click. We actually had one of the senior managers of one of the major ticketing companies assisting on those gates and overseeing everything. So this wasn't just festival staff, and that's why I was keen to know which company there was an issue with, because I think Sean's made an important point.
Okay. Just what extra costs will you incur as a result of cancelling Sunday?
Well, I'll give you an example. All of the artists alone will still get paid.
Yeah. What extra costs will you incur? Those costs were there. The costs of paying for the artists were already there. What extra costs will you incur? I just wonder, because you said there won't be any profit to give to the Manchester victims.
So I can give you an answer. What the extra costs we will incur is that, for example, on the Sunday there will be no walk-up tickets, of which Liverpool as a city has massive sales of walk-up. There were many. Well, there were probably in excess of 1,000 that I personally walked the line and turned away on the Saturday because I didn't want to sell any more on the day's sales.
Oh, I thought you because this is on the Saturday. Because on the Sunday you kind of disappeared, didn't you?
No, I didn't at all. I was with the police.
Because I spoke to the city council and they told me that you'd kind of disappeared.
Who at the city council?
I cannot reveal my sources, sir, but I spoke to someone.
Then your sources are incorrect, because
thank you for clearing that up.
I was in conversation with Zoe Rubert. I was in conversation. I saw her out at the gate, Angie Redhead. I was with a sergeant of the police, and then two chief inspectors from the police.
Well, they're not the council.
I was with.
Okay,
Lee,
listen.
The council, but I think you'll agree.
Yes.
The police in that scenario are far better. And I was also with Julie Orr from the World Museum.
Okay.
Where we were looking at the situation from on top of their steps.
All right,Lee. Listen, you came on, and I appreciate you came on. And I know we've locked horns, but I hope you understand why I've had to do that. Because a lot of people are out of pocket.
Look, of course, Ian, I understand why you have to do that. I didn't appreciate you interrupting every answer I
apologise.
And I've tried honestly. There are many people that might have hung up after 50 minutes.
No, I know, and I appreciate that you stuck around. And I appreciate that you came on when you didn't have to, Lee, and I genuinely appreciate that.
And you know, from the bottom of my heart, to everybody that attended, I am desperately sad that it turned out the way it did. It's not how we do things, and we're not looking to point the finger. We accept full responsibility, but where other parties are to blame for the failures that have been there, then it is important that your listeners understand those and understand the differentiation between the issues that
we have to go because we're against time. What your Twitter feed? What's the Twitter feed so that people can follow you and find out exactly what's happening?
At Hope and Glory Fez.
All right. Listen, I appreciate your time, mate. Thank you very much. Good luck sorting it all out. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Take a far-out trip into the twilight zone of late-night radio with Iain Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Unmissable late-night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
If you were there, and by the way, if you had a great time, we want to hear it. I just want to clear up one thing that was raised in that conversation that both Lee and I understood, and you might not have done. He mentioned that I got a lot of my information from a friend of mine. He gave out a name, which I'm not prepared to do, and that person had been arrested and found guilty of stalking. When Catherine and I went on Twitter and Facebook to find people who'd been to this event, loads of people got in touch. One gentleman got in touch and said, I can talk to you about this gentleman, but full disclosure, I was found guilty of harassing him. And I replied to him, I said, I really appreciate you being completely honest with me, and I've got the emails. I said, I really appreciate you being completely honest with me. Because of what you've just told me, I'm not going to be able to talk to you about this anymore. And we've got loads of other people getting in touch. So thank you very much. But I can't engage in a conversation with you. And the person wrote back going, fair enough, I appreciate that. So just to put that to rest, if anyone thought I was getting information from people who have been involved in legal cases, as far as I'm aware, I certainly was, and all of the information I was quoting there, some of it was posted up on Facebook pages, and there's this great thing. I found this great thing. It's called Google, and you type in names and things, and stuff comes up. It's incredible. But if you were there, that's great. And we've got. I see that we've got some people that were there. Also, here's the thing: I don't want it to be, and maybe it became a little bit towards the end there. Loads of people are going, well, this is going to reflect badly on Liverpool and us as Liverpudlians. And au contraire, Liverpool. If anything, you came out of it absolutely smelling of roses, because we heard Charlotte Church got her set cancelled. The bands that were supposed to play on Sunday got their sets cancelled, and loads and loads and loads of venues and bars and rooms reached out to those artists and said, I tell you what, if you can get, I don't know if this is how it worked, this is how the conversation went in my head. If you can get here in a couple of hours, you can come and do a set at ours, and we'll let everyone in who's got a wristband, stuff like, hey, what am I talking about? I don't know how this, these kind of things happen. So let's speak to one of those people that helped, show why Liverpool is one of the greatest cities in the world. Let's speak to, it's Jules. Hello, Jules.
Hi, Ian, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. Now, tell me, which club are you with?
I run a night called Liquidation, which is every Saturday. It's been Liverpool's longest running weekly club night.
And you rescued Charlotte Church?
Yeah, I'd messaged her in the week to see if she could DJ afterwards, and then we didn't get any joy. I got in from the shops, and she put out on Twitter, anyone help us out with a set? And I messaged back and went, please, first refusal, give me 10 minutes, and we had it boxed off with a sound person arriving, and within an hour and a half, they were sound checking.
Isn't that... So it was like that then? I was kind of making it up, but no, you did it like that.
Literally like that. 5 tweets, 5 DMs, and we had a gig.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Good for her and good for you.
She was great.
Listen, I've only been to Liverpool a few times, and I did the Beatles thing. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Tell us about Liquidation. Where is it? How many people does it hold?
It's got about 500 people every Saturday. It's been running for 24 years. It's in a basement called EBGB's.
Yeah.
And it's actually been refit out as a dungeon. So the band walked in, late night pop dungeon walked in, and we're like, wow, an actual dungeon. and it was perfect. And they sound checked. Had a bottle of Prosecco, had a crate of IPA, and away we went.
And then, you just tweeted, if you're missing Charlotte Church, we've got her. Come. Who did you let in?
So everyone that came that had a Hope and Glory wristband obviously got in for free. It was, front of the queue, make sure everyone's safe. And then we're only £3 in anyway, so anyone else that wanted to come down got a show for £3.
Hey man, that's brilliant.
Twitter was the star this weekend. It was great.
That is absolutely brilliant. And this was one of the things that kept me hooked on Twitter over the weekend. Was watching the Twitter meltdown of that Twitter feed, but then also seeing people like yourself, and we've got a couple of other places as well that invited the bands on. I saw the Lightning Seeds were off to go and play somewhere else.
The Lightning Seeds played just down the road on Sunday. There was a massive queue, sort of hundreds of yards down the road for them, and they played with Clean Cut Kid. I've seen the Olympia have announced that people can go to Suits and the Motels tomorrow with a ticket, first come, first served. So yeah, people have stepped up. It's been great. It's been really, really positive from what could have been a lot worse. And I'm glad people are seeing Liverpool for what it can do.
And I've seen loads of people online, Jules, who said, and I have. Well, I'm saying I'm quoting £1,000. That's not an exaggeration. We've spoken to a family, and it was with mum and a dad and 2 kids, and with the travel, with the petrol, the tickets, and the hotel, they spent £1,000. So that is a lot of money. 90 quid is a lot of money.
It's the biggest place. I mean, there were bars offering cheap treat drink deals. You know, everyone's going, 12,000 people, let's help them out.
It is wonderful that so many people pull together. Jules, give it a plug, okay? If anyone, guys, if you're going to Liverpool, and it is one of the best places in the world, I want to do a week in Liverpool soon. We want to do a week of shows.
Yeah,
hey,
come and see us.
Jules!
I can talk about you doing a DJ set, man, if you want.
Well, I don't know about that. My music, I don't think will go down too well in a dungeon, but maybe we can come and do the radio show from there.
That sounds like a great idea. If anyone's visited Liverpool, it's every Saturday. If you're a tourist, if you're a new student, and you're good people, come and see us on a Saturday. Indie, rock and roll, disco, pop, and it's just a big party.
Can I ask one question, completely off topic, Jules, if you don't mind?
Of course.
Do you guys get sick of the Beatles?
They're one of the best bands in the world, aren't they?
There was a hesitation there, though.
I've got every single one of their albums up till one.
Jules, listen, mate, well done for being such a good person. And I'm what was the concert like? Was she good?
She was amazing. She played sort of Radiohead songs, Sabbath, Talking Heads, Amory, Michael Jackson, Prince, Edwin Starr. It was out of this world. But have a look online. There's clips on Liquidation Liverpool on Facebook.
Brilliant.
And Liquidation Loves You on Twitter.
Jules, brilliant. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. We can go to another venue that helped out. It's Dan Murphy, who's the owner of Berry and Rye. Where's Berry and Rye, Dan?
It's just a tiny little place on Berry Street, Iain.
Don't do yourself down. How tiny is it?
We fill up 48 bums.
Oh, it's tiny. It's proper tiny. How did you get involved at the weekend?
Well, I've been on the Saturday, and it was a bit of a shit show.
Yeah.
Sorry for the language.
That's all right. No, I think that's appropriate in this instance.
Okay, it was a shit show, Iain.
Yes.
And so, I'd seen it firsthand, and then the Sunday, just the reaction from the organisers was terrible, and people don't think it's a guy from Wales who's based in Lichfield who's cancelling the show. They think this is a Liverpool event getting cancelled.
Yeah.
This is my first time in Liverpool. I spent $1,000 getting here. And rightly so. So that's not the story we want people to know about Liverpool, and I just felt it just needed to be changed, really. So we just chucked something Hospitality Exchange Group. We said, hey, we're going to offer a few free drinks or cheaper drinks with our bars, but it'd be a better gesture if everybody did it. And everybody's response was phenomenal.
Wow! So you started it. You started the. This is rubbish, but let's see if we can make the town a bit cheerier.
Well, just lit the flame. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure plenty of people were thinking it, but I was kind of on Twitter at the time when I saw what was going down, and it was dreadful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they were adding insult to injury, really, and it was, as you just said yourself, people have spent $1,000. You're sat there in a hotel room, possibly turned away on a Saturday, thinking, right, we'll make up for it today, it'll be fine. They've announced that the festival's going on. Oh, no, wait, no festival today. Done.
And how quickly did other bars and clubs and venues start picking up where you'd started? Was it quite quick?
It was instant. Yeah, and it started with the independents. There was a bar called Gin and Juice, replied straight away. They'd been open 2 months.
Yeah.
And then it went from there. Heebie-Jeebies got involved again. Salt Dog Slims were offering free hot dogs. All of our venues were doing cheaper drinks. And it was just phenomenal, but it really was independent, And Liverpool's got a great independent heart at the moment.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal to see, really. It was really, really cool.
It is brilliant, and it's one of those cliches, isn't it? That people in Liverpool and people in Manchester, they're always nicer and friendlier than people in London. But this is the way it's spread. I mean, we heard there about Charlotte Church getting put on 2 hours' notice. That is incredible. That's an incredible attitude. And I don't know. Is it just a Liverpool thing?
I don't know. I don't I'd say that. It's just about understanding somebody's plight, isn't it? It's about being able to empathise in a situation. And, when something goes wrong, people just want recognition of the problem, at least, which the organisers didn't do, and someone to take ownership of a solution at best. And I think maybe when you've got a bunch of independent operators, they're all solutions people.
Yeah.
And they love their city. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
They love being in business. That's why they're here. They're not necessarily asked about making money. They just want to create great things. And this was a chance to create something great, and we did. You know, it was cool. It was really cool to be part of.
You did, and you guys, you, Dan, and everyone else that's done this has turned the story around, because it could have been, there could have been a lot of people coming away going, "Oh, Liverpool, I ain't going back there." But if you go on the Facebook groups and if you go on Twitter, for most people, it's totally turned it around, and they came away going, well, you know, it got cancelled, we wasted a lot of money, but we actually had a really good time, and we saw bits of the city that we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Yeah, and that was great, because there was so many different areas that were offering loads of things, and because there's hotels everywhere, hopefully people got to see things close to them that they, as you say, they'd never seen before, you know, which was great. I've got to say as well, though, that the lightning seeds were just epic, and more bands didn't follow suit. You know, Zanzibar got involved straight away.
Yeah.
Said, "Hey, come and play here."
Brilliant.
And I know for a fact that they wanted to play a second set. I mean, I was outside when the queue was there. It was, wow. It was longer than Hope and Glory on the
Saturday. Man. Dan, listen, you're a good man. It's the Berry and Rye on Berry Street in Liverpool. Dan Murphy, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, dude.
Cheers, Dan. There we go. Let's take one more of these, and then we'll. I'm enjoying this. You see, it would have been so easy just to have gone. Well, and that was a crap weekend. Anyway, moving on. But I think it's really important that we celebrate the fact that these bars, these people that run these bars, that the acts pull together and still manage to put on a show despite the cock-ups elsewhere. Let's go to Stefan Price. Hello, Stefan.
Hi, Ian, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Alma de Cuba, how did you help out?
So, yeah, we manage social media for the whole of Alma de Cuba, we're Liverpool's oldest Catholic church, and we're now one of the top bar and restaurants. So my job, day in, day out, is to look through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, see what's happening.
I bet you had a field day at the weekend seeing that coming up.
Trust me, it was a day that'll stay in my mind forever.
I bet.
So I woke up early on Sunday and noticed that this big catastrophe had happened. This festival that was supposed to be amazing was cancelled. So the first thing I thought is, well, what can we do? So I got on the phone to our bar manager, Gary, and he said, well, we can't, we might not be able to do anything big, but what we can do, we can invite people through our doors. Let's give them 2-for-1 cocktails. Let's give them 4 beers for a tenner. Let's just give them a really good Liverpool sort of welcome.
Beautiful.
And when you walk into our venue, it's literally just stunning. It's you're standing in front of the church.
Oh wow.
Church altar, and we had tweets all throughout the day saying we'd turn the day around and that our staff were so friendly. And it just shows that the power of social media and the power of Liverpool together was just phenomenal. Really.
That's the thing, isn't it? You think back even 10 years, and if something like this had happened, people would have got the train or would have got in their cars and they would have headed off home. But now that everyone's got the internet in their pocket and Twitter and Facebook, it's so easy for people like you to reach out to people who are stranded.
Yeah, definitely. It literally took us about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden we had people coming through our doors, we had retweets, we had messages of support, and we literally just turned people's day around. Maybe if that was 10 or it was 100, we don't know the exact number, but, as long as that, people went away from our city thinking, actually, these are a good bunch of guys, and like Berry and Rye and the rest of the bars, it was not a competition. Everybody was retweeting each other and everyone was getting involved, and it was like sort of we'd created our own little online bubble and showed the world that, Liverpool is the place to be today. It didn't seem like a festival just being cancelled. So it was just a really weird atmosphere. And then coming in this morning, obviously seeing the aftermath of it all, it was just great to see. Great to see everyone's faces and photos
Stefan,
and stuff.
You're a good man. The Alma de Cuba, whereabouts is it in Liverpool? People are coming up like Go on.
Yeah, we're based on Seal Street, around the corner from most of the bars and restaurants, and to be honest, we have entertainment for everybody, so yeah, it was a great day.
Nice one, Stefan. Well done. Thanks for coming on, and well done for doing it.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Everyone's been so nice. Everyone's been so nice. Abigail and Claire, I can see you're there. I can see you've been waiting for a while. I've got to do a break and then I'll get to you. But I just thought it was important that we spent a bit of time focusing on the positive. And I think you'll understand why. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I think it's the first time I've said that all evening. This is the Late Night Alternative. Hello, I'm Iain Lee. You're listening to Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee
on Talk Radio.
The Hope and Glory Festival was happening at Liverpool. I was unaware. Here's the thing. We just talked about Twitter there, right? Here's the thing. The way I found out about this story is I looked at the Twitter moments. You know, it gives you the news stories, and it said something like festival cancelled. And so I clicked on it, and I flicked through, right? And I would have thought nothing more of it if I hadn't seen someone, Leo Hanlon says it wasn't him, let's take him at his word for it, but someone using the Hope and Glory Festival Twitter feed having a go at the lead singer from James, Tim Booth. I've met Tim Booth, he's a very nice, softly spoken gentleman, right? Well, this was 15 years ago. He may become a loud, shouty man now, I don't know. But there was one tweet, and it was just having a go at Tim Booth, and I thought, right, that's not going to go down well. That is not how you deal with a situation like that. And if I hadn't have seen that tweet, do you know what? I don't know if I'd have followed the story along and phoned Kath up yesterday afternoon and said, Kath, I think I found something that might be worth having a look at. Can you do a little dig around? And then as we dug deeper, we saw, you know, the let's say hundreds of upset and unhappy people. The drama that was unfolding on Twitter. In terms of you know, punters being shouted at and bands being shouted at. And then we also saw the good side. And again, I'm going to say this, hats off to the Liverpool Echo, because I'm a big fan of local papers. My family always think I'm a very strange man, because when we go somewhere else in the country, I'll buy a local paper. Now, quite often, a lot of local papers, it's just adverts for cars and stuff. But I like reading a local paper. I want to know about the lollipop lady who saved a cat. I want to know, I like all that stuff, and local papers are dying off, just as real papers are dying off. So go out and support your Liverpool Echo, guys, and your local papers. Right. We've got some festival goers, and they've been waiting for absolutely ages. Abigail, I don't know if this wait was as long as it was for you at the weekend. You went to the festival. What happened for you? What was your experience?
Well, me and my husband attend with our 4-year-old daughter. The festival is advertised as very family friendly.
Let me just interrupt for a second, because I didn't really make that point clear enough when I was talking to Lee. This was a big thing for a lot of people, is that it was family friendly, and you know, kids were actively welcome, weren't they?
Yeah, they were promised circus skills and entertainment for the children, and I thought, oh, she loves music, let's go along.
Yeah.
Now, the queue itself outside, yes, they opened 45 minutes late, but we thought these things happen.
That happens, yep.
Yeah, and once we got in, actually, we were one of the lucky early ones to get in, and it was a lovely venue. Like, there was green areas, and you could sit down, but then that very quickly changed, and there was just people piling in. And, I mean, the queues, you do expect a queue, but you don't expect a queue for over an hour for a drink. They promised that you could pay on card, but then they weren't accepting card payments, but they wouldn't let you out to get cash.
Oh, God.
So that became an issue for a lot of people. But more than that, it was the safety. I really felt worried for my little girl. There was that bottleneck.
Was it the crushing that you were worried about?
Yeah, at one point we were trying to get through to a quieter area, and I had to literally scoop her up under my arm and hold her high up.
Oh, God.
And then only at that point did a member of security actually, and God bless whoever this man was, he spotted us and started yelling, small child coming through,
oh, good for him.
Out of the way. But that was quite scary for our daughter. She was quite shaken up by that, being surrounded by these adults.
Yeah.
There was adults climbing over the fences, and it was just not very safe, and kind of that escalated from then onwards, really.
So did you this was obviously on the Saturday, because it didn't happen on the Sunday. How long did you stick around for, Abigail?
Well, we'd booked a hotel. We had 3 night accommodation, so we kind of left quite late evening on that Saturday, and we stuck it out. because actually I don't think we would have got out very quickly.
Yeah.
But then it was all actually just a bit uncertain from the next morning. We were waiting to find out, do we get a taxi into the centre, do we not? There was just a lot of uncertainty, and then to see 3 words posted saying no festival today, it was like, oh, right, is that it? It was just, it kind of left you feeling very deflated, and after spending a lot of money that actually you didn't mean anything.
As announcements go, the event that you've spent a lot of money on and you have been cancelled, it's a pretty lousy one, isn't it?
Yeah, three words, even no with deep regret or no apology. And we hadn't travelled the furthest.
Yeah.
There's people who had travelled even further than us, and it just meant, I don't know, it was just really badly handled and kind of, I think, added to a lot of people's fury that there wasn't even a decent kind of communication.
Yeah, and it's funny, we're talking to the bars and the restaurants there who seem to be able to communicate with people
perfectly well,
better than how's the little girl now? Is she all right? Because those things can leave quite an impact, can't they?
Yeah, and we kind of the next day, with it being cancelled, I think a trip to the bear factory solved everything.
Oh, the old bribery of making your own teddy bear. Yes.
And I think, going back to what you were just saying with the previous callers, Liverpool did turn it around as a city. We saw a lot of Liverpool, and it was a lovely day.
Yeah.
Wasn't the day we had planned, but Liverpool turned that on its head, and they did make it a positive for people that were left disappointed.
Brilliant. Well, I hope it doesn't put you off going to festivals, because I've not been to a festival with my boys yet. My boys are 7 and 5, but I take them to lots of concerts, and there's just something wonderful about listening to dancing to the bands that I danced to when I was 15, 16, 17 with my boys,
definitely.
and it's such a thrill, isn't it?
Yes, we might wait a few years to get over it and then take her again.
She'll be a little raver when she's older.
Yeah,
Abigail,
totally.
I'm glad you made the best of it, and thanks so much for sharing your story tonight.
No, thank you.
Oh, so I just cut her off quickly. That was me. Sorry, Abigail. Don't take it personally. I've got fat fingers. I do apologise. Claire. Good evening, Claire.
Evening, Ian.
How was your weekend?
Well, like you say, it was very shambles.
Go on.
Listening to let me just say I've got some feedback actually. If you can change on, listening to you.
Yeah.
And just get rid of that, and then I can hear you.
Get rid of that. Have you got rid of that? Turn the radio off.
Oh, it's off.
Okay.
It's not on my iPad. Right, yeah, no
You're
problem. I live locally, so we'd been watching on Twitter the delays that were happening outside the venue.
Yeah.
So we decided to leave it till about 6 o'clock to get there, because we thought there's no point standing in a queue for a couple of hours. When we were on the train, we could see that the police were turning people away, and we thought, we're not even going to get in here. So we thought, well, we'll go and see, and then if not, we'll just go for something to eat and come home.
Yeah.
When we got there, there was a few security, and they let us in. They did look at our tickets, but they were letting people out as well, and people were coming back in with crates of beer. So it's like, obviously it was like a free flow at that point. When we walked in, we were hit with a bottleneck where the beer was being sold, and then there was the big queue for the toilet.
And this was by the entrance, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get the picture in my head, and loads of people have said that it was as soon as you queued to get in, and then once you got in, you were kind of stuck again.
Yeah, it's literally you hit the queue. So whereas we hadn't got a queue to get in, we like kind of walked straight in. It was like you then hit with this big queue, and then this bottleneck where you went between stages. So the main stage was where the biggest queue was, with the toilets and the bar, which was just poorly planned out.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, as you walked through a very small, narrow walkway, which they had tried to make into a one-way system, it quietened out in that area, and that's where there was more food, and that's where you get food from. And there was another bar down there. To what Lee had said before, there was no other toilets on that site. I mean, the toilets that were there were not sufficient for the amount of people that were on there. We made the decision then at about 6 o'clock, get something to eat, and then we'll go back down by the main bar at the main stage, because we wanted to watch James. So we thought we'll go and get a decent spot. but there was like 3, we were fenced in basically, and I think what we're really fortunate about is there wasn't any disaster, because Lee is really fortunate that there wasn't any serious incidents, because I said to my son, when we sort of stood front and to the right, and I sort of said, if anything happens here, we're going that way towards the right, and that's where we're going to go.
Wow.
You shouldn't have to go to a festival and think, where am I going to go for safety?
Good.
And I also had a bag, which, again, I opened, and they just, a bit of a cursory glance into the bag, and nothing like proper check. And you think after Manchester, it was shambolic. And all I think is that what really frustrates me with Lee, if he's such a professional person, is the way that he then ranted on Twitter yesterday, and then how he calls out Tim Booth, obviously saying that because obviously he was saying about how much of a shambles it was, and then he's arguing with him saying no, it wasn't. And then tonight he's saying it wasn't me, it was one of my junior team that's on Twitter.
Lee is, and for those who, Lee is saying that wasn't him on Twitter yesterday, and I personally, I don't believe it, but I don't want to call the gentleman a liar, so I'm going to take him at his word on that. But that was terrible.
I'd like to see what he does with the refunds, because after listening to him on your show tonight, and he couldn't seem to answer that question. I mean, I only bought a day ticket, and I stayed till the end. So at the end of the day, I got to see the band I wanted to see. I mean, and
did James cut their set short?
Yes,
I thought so.
Because we tweeted. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit of an obsessive James fan. I tweeted Tim Booth, and he'd said on a reply that they were planning still to come on at 9:00, and they were doing an hour and a half set because the curfew was 10:30.
Right.
But Razorlight didn't come on till 8:30.
Uh-oh.
So you know at that point that they're not going to come on at 9:00.
Yeah.
James came on at about 9:45, and within 25 minutes they were told they had to cut their set short, so they weren't happy. And then obviously they finished just before 11:00. So I mean, like you say, for a headline act to having to cut their set, I mean, and earlier on, obviously we could see from all the Twitter that everything was running behind. I mean, poor Charlotte Church just got caught, and nobody got told anything. She just got cut from the set list. It's just absolutely disgraced, and I just hope that this person doesn't have anything to do again with it involving festivals, because it was a joke.
I've had so many tweets during this show, Claire, and I've missed a lot of them, but someone has just said, do go and check out what Lee is tweeting now at Hope and Glory Fest. Here's something. Question from Spider's Legs on Twitter. Where's the money, Lee? Lee's replied, wish I was them, I'd shave some years off.
What? He's off his head. And the other thing, where were all the health and safety signs? They were under the stage.
I've seen pictures of these health and safety signs, yeah.
This is absolute disgrace. I mean, he said that he didn't open the festival for an hour and a half due to safety concerns, and he wants to blame somebody else. At the end of the day, if it was so unsafe, he should not have opened the doors at all. It would be better that than, obviously, to rush people in and try and make some money. And then all he's done today is moan about his riders that have been given away to the homeless. It's just a farce.
Claire, how old was your boy, did you say?
Oh, he's 17.
Oh, he's a big lad. Oh, sorry, he's a big lad.
Yeah, he came along begrudgingly, but it's all the other James followers that weren't there for that weekend.
Claire, it's nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for your time. I appreciate that. Victoria and Tom, stay there. I'll come to you in a bit. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you were there. Let us know what happened. Just to say, we were going to do the musical hour at the top of this show. We're going to do that probably later in the week. We were going to play out part 1 of the Chaz Hodges interview. Probably going to play that out tomorrow. And we were also going to speak... Do you remember last week? We were... I found a story about a guy, an amateur acrobat, that had built a giant, trapeze in his back garden. Do you remember? Well, Kath has found him. So, we were gonna... I'm sorry if you tuned in to hear us speak to the amateur acrobat. We're probably gonna speak to him tomorrow, okay? Victoria, then Tom, and then Kay. This is the Late Night Alternative with me, Iain Lee, on Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee
on Talk Radio.
There's a tweet from a guy called Liam. Teething problems. Where's the first tweet? Because it says 2 of 3. And I can't find the first tweet, mate. Teething problems. It needed policing right. They got there by 9 p.m. Saturday night. Granted, a lot of people gave up. And then, a bit later on, I'm not the only one who had a decent day, surely. Well, no. And if you've been listening, Liam, I've been saying, if you had a good time, let us know, okay? Please let us know. And I have been saying that, I think when I opened the show at 11, that was one of the first things I said. Do let us know. Liam, phone up and tell us you had a great time, man. Definitely. 0344 499 1000. We call you back. Victoria. Good evening, Victoria.
Hi.
Did you go to the festival?
Yeah, I went with my boyfriend.
Did you have a great time?
No, a very traumatic time, actually.
Oh, go on, what happened?
Well, we queued for about an hour and a half to get in.
Yeah.
And when we did get in, we were just met with absolutely swarms of people everywhere, and it was quite frightening, really.
Yeah.
We queued then for an hour to go to the toilet. Then we queued another hour for the bar. We tried to get through into the second stage, but it was an absolute nightmare because there was a bottleneck at the gates.
So this is what we've been hearing, because I'm trying to picture it in my head. I don't know the area specifically. So once you came in, the toilets and the bar were near the entrance, and everyone was just hanging out there.
Yeah, and there was just a build-up of people, and it just came to sort of like a halt, really, and people were trying to squeeze through, and you could see it getting tighter and tighter.
Oh, God.
And then there's like a wall that spans the whole of the venue.
Yeah.
And people were starting to sort of move the fence in and get over the wall.
I'll be honest, if I'd have been there with my boys, I would have said, right, we're going now. This, and it was. And you didn't have kids with you, so maybe you didn't know. But was there anything there for the kids to do? This was another thing. I should have asked the mum. This was another thing. It was sold that there would be entertainment for the kids, but I've heard reports of there being 8 space hoppers. I don't know if that's a joke or not, but that seemed to be all there was.
There was like a bit of a sort of inflatable type thing right by the bottleneck. But that was unsupervised.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bit of face painting going on. But apart from that, I couldn't see anything else that was there for children. And there were quite a few children there.
Did you go... were you planning on going on the Sunday?
Yes, we were. We were there for the weekend. We booked a hotel for 3 nights.
Oh, man alive. What did you think of the... you found out on Twitter, did you, that it was cancelled?
Yeah. After what had happened on the Saturday, we sort of was watching out then to see what was happening, because I said to Mark, my boyfriend, I said, I don't think it'll be on tomorrow the way, it's been today.
Yeah.
But towards the end, when we were watching James, the crowd was so bad that we went to look for a quiet spot so we could watch them, and we went behind the wall. There was like a bar, and we sort of went behind the back there, and there was quite a lot of people sitting on the wall, ready to watch James perform. But as they came on, people started standing up onto the wall, and there's like a metal fence in front of the wall to prevent people from going over. And as more and more people got onto the wall, you could see the fence rocking backwards and forwards, and then I actually saw 3 people fall over the top of the fence into the crowd below. But there was no security to be found, nobody to stop these people.
Hang on a second, stay there, because I think, Kay, you're saying the same thing, aren't you? You didn't see any security at all?
No, there was no security whatsoever. I mean, I was lucky enough to have a contact that I actually had a AAA. And what was more concerning was that the bands as well were treated as badly as everybody else. There was no security at all to the backstage area. I actually walked twice down into the backstage area. I had my AAA, but it wasn't checked.
Yeah.
There was nobody there. Anybody could have walked backstage.
Can I just say, Kay, for those who aren't as cool as you and me...
I'm not.
The AAA is the Access All Areas pass. That's what that is. Kay's a special
very
person.
Lucky, because I'm actually usually at the barrier. I prefer being at the barrier.
Yeah.
But it was so dangerous there
as far as I was concerned, I got out.
Yeah.
And I don't enjoy it unless I can be right there, and I just couldn't do it, because you say you're trying to picture the thing when you actually came down through the where they sort of checked the tickets and everything. It was like a big long rectangle on cobbles, and it was actually going downhill slightly. So the barrier by the stage was balanced on these cobbles, so it was wobbling.
Oh God.
There was, the really, really cheap fencing that you can get.
Yes.
The tall with the really thin sort of mesh bits in it.
Yeah.
That you can almost bend with your fingers. It was that sort of, and you were fenced in the whole way around, 3 sides.
Oh, it sounds hideous.
The only way you could get out was via this bottleneck. So the bottleneck was formed by the sound desk and the disabled area. So that was actually rammed into the corner, so anybody who was to the left of the stage, if they'd have gone straight back, they had a wall on one side.
Yeah.
And they they had to then go across themselves and through this bottleneck where the toilets and the bar was to get anywhere. It was downright dangerous. People seriously could have been killed.
And it's one of those, and of course, people say, well, yeah, but it didn't happen. Yeah, but you've got to remember Liverpool. You've got to remember Hillsborough for a second.
Until it does.
Exactly. Liverpool has, a relationship with tragic events where things like that shouldn't happen, but have happened. And all it takes is for, I don't know, a fight. All it takes is for something to happen and people to rush.
Well, the thing is, it was people were drinking all day. I mean, we will do. It was a nice day. It was a Saturday. People were drinking, and I could sort of see it was okay when I was down there, but you could feel people coming in, and they were getting not drunk, but people were having more and more to drink.
Yeah.
And you think all it needs is for some sort of surge to happen because it was facing downhill. And what would happen at the barrier, I have no idea. Because to the left, there was another of these flimsy fences, and there was a young girl there as a steward. Now, the only way she could actually open that fence to let anybody through there was by actually opening it into the crowd. So if there was a crush, you couldn't have opened it.
Kay and Victoria, listen, you came out the other side. I'm glad you're all right. Kay, has it put you off Liverpool?
Oh, God, no. even as a Mancunian.
Oh, God, flipping it. Victoria, whereabouts are you from?
Ellesmere Port.
Okay. Well, I hope you had, I hope you made the most of the Sunday that you were presented with after that. Oh, it sounds flipping awful, doesn't it? 03444 99 1000 is the telephone number. This is Talk Radio.
The radio show for people who know the best part of the day is the night.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee.
On Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
03444 99 1000 is the telephone number. Let's go to Tom. Evening, Tom.
Hello.
Hello,
Ian.
Tom. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Well, do you know what? You've asked me, so I'm going to give it to you. I'm in a different studio, Tom, and it doesn't feel right.
Okay.
It doesn't feel right. It feels a little bit wrong and sounds a bit wrong, so I'm uncomfortable. Apart from that, I'm fine. I had a nice weekend. How was yours?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, Ian. Everything that's just been said by everyone is true, but I had quite a good time as well.
Good for you. Go on, tell me why.
It was unsafe. It wasn't organised. It was a mess. That geezer is obviously a plonker, but the bands were great. Saw Star Sailor and Brace and what else did I see? Yeah, Chris Helm and people like that were really good. Yeah, so, I mean, I had a good weekend. The day after, went around Liverpool. That was fun. So, I don't really want to talk about fences and
don't then! Tell me!
It's all true, but also, I mean, when we first got there, it was beautiful. The sun was out.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, having a great time. And yes, it was dangerous, and I do agree. But also, I had quite a good time.
I love that. It was dangerous, but I had a good time. So, what was the best band you saw?
The best band I saw, it was Star Sailor. Yeah, it was good. They were good. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I like a bit of Star. Everyone likes a little bit of Star Sailor every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, there was issues with sound, because Embrace had issues with sound and things like this, but And again, early on it was great. When it filled up at the end, it got a little bit of a nightmare and unsafe and should have been stopped.
What did you do on the Sunday? Where did you go and what did you see?
Everywhere. We actually queued to get into the lightning seeds.
Oh,
and we didn't get in. We were one person away from getting in.
Oh no, that's the worst thing, man. When you're queuing up for a ride at a theme park or you're going to a gig and just that strap gets pulled out in front of you. Sorry, we're full.
But I mean, obviously, it was nice what they did, and we lined up for a couple of hours to try and get in there. But you know what? After that, we went across the road. We went into a karaoke bar. We stayed there for about 5 hours.
Oh God,
it was
that sounds hellish.
Fantastic.
That sounds hellish.
It was brilliant.
What did you sing?
Stone Roses. Yeah.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Well, yes, but I had a great time. But yeah, the guy's a bit of a plonker, and he's just not doing himself any favours with some of the nonsense that he writes.
Well,
really,
I do think you come out and you put your hands up and you say, right, I'm sorry. How can we sort this?
Exactly, and the people, look, there were a lot of people dancing, and there were a lot of people having a good time. I know that it was, there were a lot, and if he would have said, look, it's on tits up, you'll get your money back, I reckon most of them have gone, fair enough. But the silly little messages and the tweets and all that crap that he's doing, he's making himself look a right muppet, isn't he?
Tom, nice to talk to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. 0344 499 1000. Say, if you had a good time, let us know. You know, if some of you had a good time. Tom said it was unsafe. 5 hours in a karaoke bar, though, that to me sounds like hell. But I don't drink anymore, so I think that's how that works. Good evening, Lewis.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, how you doing, man? You all right? Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Chester.
Chester, okay. And what did you make of the weekend?
I just want to firstly thank you for getting Lee on the show and just confronting him and demanding the answers that thousands of people obviously eagerly want to know.
I hope you lot get your money back, but I've got a sneaking suspicion. You know, but I don't think this. I hope I'm proved wrong, but I don't think this story will have a happy ending for those who want refunds.
That's exactly what the main reason I was phoning up is, just to say I've got my apprehensions about how it's going to be handled, because, as you say, Lee's passing the buck on to the ticket companies. They're passing the buck to him and stuff. So it's just a case of pointing fingers at each other. So I think it'll be a lengthy process.
Lewis, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to seem completely apropos of nothing, but trust me. Are you single?
Yeah.
Because we've just had a tweet in from someone called Julia.
Right.
I like the sound of this sexy mancon now.
Oh, right.
Is that a mate of yours?
Sexy, but I'm pretty nervous.
Well, so it's working for someone. It's working for Julia, Lewis.
Right, okay.
So,
really know what to say.
No, I don't know what to say either. I'm a little bit embarrassed. It's not as easy being Cilla Black as I thought it would. So what I'm assuming same thing for you. Unsafe, no security, and gutted that Sunday was cancelled.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much. I've been listening from the start of the programme, and there's not much that's been said that I can't say myself. We must have arrived, got out of the station for about 2:30. I was just with one other friend, and we met up with another lad, and there was a huge queue going all the way around pretty much St George's Hall and stuff. So the only conclusion we could come to is that everyone's been thinking the same, that there's no rush to get there. In fact, we'll beat the rush by turning up a little bit later, but as it transpires, we overheard a lady behind us in the queue who checked Twitter and said they're 90 minutes behind schedule, by which point one of the bands I wanted to see, which was Pigeon Detectives, actually came on, and I thought, well, I'm not even going to get a chance to see these. So that was a bit frustrating. But eventually got in, and, you know, luckily the weather was good, and we made the best of kind of a bad situation, I suppose. But I wasn't drinking, I was driving, but my two friends queued up for a beer, and at one point I said, look, I'm going to go and catch one of the bands, because I was just stood there like a spare part for half an hour. So I thought maybe that's going to be the theme of the
theme of the evening. Yeah, I'm sorry you had a rubbish time. Keep on keeping on. Let us know if you get any good news on those refunds. And I'm sorry I can't afford to give 90 quid to everyone. I just felt sorry for that lad that was on the line, and that's why I said I would, and I was hoping it might prompt something else from the other side. But never mind. Never mind. Thanks for calling, Lewis.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much indeed. I tell you what. Oh, where's my... There we go, it's gone. I tell you what, let's speak to Katie, and then we can carry on talking about this after 12, but we can also talk about other stuff. Catherine, maybe you could come and join me in here after 12, and we can see where the conversazione takes us. Evening, Katie.
Hi.
Oh, hang on a minute, someone's sounding very perky at nearly midnight on a Monday night.
I know, I am a bit perky considering the weekend.
Go on, what happened?
You know, you've got to look at the positive. Well, I was thinking up because I really didn't want to be controversial and mention Hillsborough, but it was making really angry that nobody was mentioning it.
Yep.
Because I was in that crush, and it was really bloody scary, and I was up against the barrier.
Oh, were you
behind
at the front of the stage? But in front of the stage?
You know what the bottleneck that everyone's talking about?
Yeah.
They tried to make it two ways by putting a barrier in the middle, which was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I was crushed against it. I couldn't move my arms, and the guy behind me said, love, I'm going to have to lift you up in a minute. And I saw a steward, and I said to her, can you please help me? And she told me to F off.
Sorry?
I wasn't paid for that.
Sorry? What are the stewards?
And what made it worse being in the crush was when we were going into the venue, there was no searches. It was just a free-for-all. And I just thought, when I was in the crush, I just thought, if something happens now, this is just going to be catastrophic. And I was getting hot and sweaty, and I was just thinking, what's going to happen?
Was, because I mentioned earlier that I like to take my boys to concerts, and the first concert after the events at Manchester, I'm looking for ways out and things like that. Were you worried that something like that could happen with the lack of security as people were going in?
Exactly. My friend had my bag. I just nipped to the lip, and I thought, if something happens now, if somebody's not been patted down, they're carrying something happens now, my friends aren't going to know I'm involved because I've got no ID on me. And that was what I was thinking during this day that I was supposed to have been enjoying. And instead I was terrified.
That moment that you were crushed, and I mentioned Hillsborough a couple of times. I'm always hesitant to mention it, Katie, because I don't want people to go, you shouldn't be bandying that around, and, people to think that I'm being over-dramatic. But
I feel like I can validly quote it.
Yeah.
But it was really scary, and when I went back to my friends, I had to play it down because I didn't want to ruin their day.
Oh, Katie.
And I just had to carry on, dancing. Embrace came on, thank God, one of my favourite bands.
Well.
And I just had to own it because I didn't want it to define my day.
But you'd actually been terrified?
I was absolutely terrified. I was sweating, and the guy behind me said, look, love, we're going to have to lift you up here because you're going to go under. And the steward said, I'm not paid for that, when I asked her for help, and she told me to F off when I pointed out that it was her job to help.
I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's incredible.
It is, and it was just like, oh my God.
Are you all right now?
I am, because I was with my amazing friends, and I did see some of the bands who were amazing.
Yeah.
The next morning, we got up to find out what was going on. We found out from social media, we're not organisers. And we just went out in Liverpool and had the best day ever.
This is what everyone seems to be saying. Those that stuck around just had fun. Where did you go?
We went to Heebie-Jeebies. We went to some of the oldie-worldy pubs. The Blob, which is £1.70 a pint. It was just safe. My friends moved up from London, so we took her to have a photo taken with the Scylla statue.
Yeah, brilliant.
But can I just point out, Lee is an absolute con artist.
Well, hang on, Katie, hang on a second, because he's not here, and we have to. I'm sure he's not a con artist.
But I think the council has clearly not vetted him properly to be associated with him, and that scares me too.
Katie, I spoke to the council today, and they didn't want to come on, and they told me a few things that would make your hair curl. But they are launching an investigation, and I from what they told me, I kind of think it will be a very, very thorough investigation to see what potentially went wrong. But Katie, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad you had a good time. And just to stress, I'm not in any way suggesting in this show and this station, and not in any way suggesting that Lee is a con man at all. I suggest he maybe, got in a little bit over his head, but I certainly don't think there was anything duplicitous going on, and he was certainly bold enough to come on the show this evening, and he didn't have to, and he could have put the phone down at any point. We've got another hour, dear listener. By the way, new listeners, I'm here Monday to Friday, 10 till 1. Another hour. We can carry on talking about that, but we can also talk about anything else you fancy. Give us a call, 0344 499 1000. This is the Late Night Alternative with me, Iain Lee, on Talk Radio.
Talk Radio.
Another hour of this nonsense. You can watch on Periscope. I'm in a new studio with a new haircut and a new beard cut. Yeah, swish. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. You can carry on talking about the festival, good and bad. You can give me a call about absolutely anything you want. I'm Iain Lee. This is Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
He has made a covenant with the night, and with the darkness he is in agreement.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee
on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give me a call. We can talk about anything you want. Have I done a festival? The only festival I've ever done, right, it wasn't really a proper festival. It was Slough Festival when would it be, 1989? I'll tell you who was on the bill. Frank Sidebottom and Gary Glitter. Imagine that! What a bill! And the Counterfeit Stones. That was it. The festivals don't really appeal to me. I know this is kind of a walk in and walk out kind of thing, but as opposed to a camping, it don't appeal to me. I'd rather be at home, dear listener. If you can hear me slurping, I'm slurping caffeine-free coffee. I'm trying to. Today, I decided I'm going to change my life. I'm going to turn my life around. I'm going to make everything bad good. And that one of those things is to quit caffeine. And I've done it before from time to time. And the mistake I made before was doing it cold turkey, just stopping. And I felt awful for about 2 or 3 weeks. Headaches, couldn't sleep, achy legs, miserable. So this time, I'm doing it gradually. And I've got headaches, achy legs, I feel miserable. Speaking of achy legs and being miserable, it's Dennis.
Good evening, Iain.
Good evening, Dennis.
You did not deceive me then. You actually gave money away to someone.
Yes, I did. There was 90 quid to a listener, yes. Out of my own pocket.
What about your 3 lots of money you owe me?
What on earth are you talking about?
I bet you 3 times I'd make 90 to start with, 92 and 93.
Yeah, well...
You wouldn't make it, I did it, and you never...
Dude!
You never...
Oh, for goodness sakes, Dennis, that flipping echo on your line. Dennis, we're doubling our quits in it to 94.
Oh, I see. All right, fair enough. Now then, I hope the world is listening. It's going to give me foot.
No one can understand what you're saying, old man, because you've got your radio on!
I haven't.
Well, what's that echo?
It's me.
Okay. Go on.
I got an echo voice.
You got an echo voice. Okay, yes, right, fair enough. Yeah.
Wait.
Go on.
Carry on. Scheming.
What?
Carry on.
Have we finished?
Yes, I hope so.
Thank you very much indeed. If anybody knows what that call was about, then for the love of all that is holy, write it on the back of a postcard or a stuck down envelope and send it to someone, please. Eloise!
Hello.
Hey, Eloise.
Hi, I just wanted to echo the security issues, really, that have been raised by everybody.
Yeah, go on.
Because we took our 3-year-old son to the festival, we've never been to anything like that before.
Yeah.
And we thought...
Oh, she's gone. She's been silenced by the man! We'll get Eloise back. Eloise, we're getting you back. Let's go to Simon first. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. I've got a headache because I'm trying to give up caffeine like an idiot. It's my only pleasure. My only pleasure is coffee, Simon. I don't drink, I don't take drugs, and I'm giving up my last vice. This is awful.
I can't function without caffeine. I have to have caffeine to function.
This is it, I'm the same, but here's the thing, right, because I go to, like, Costa and Nero and all these coffee shops, and I'll buy maybe 2 or 3 cups, sometimes a day from those places. And they're about, let's say they're £2. So that's, let's say I buy 2 a day, that's £4 over a week, 4 times 7, 30. That's 30 quid a week, 120 quid a month. That's about £1,300 a year on coffee.
You know when you've got a problem, you start asking for the extra shot.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's enough in it. Can you make it a double? Anyway, Simon, go on. You were at the festival, were you?
I was. I mean, there was good bits and bad bits. I mean, I've worked at the MN Arena and the Echo Arena doing security there.
Right.
And there was no signage anywhere. I mean, every emergency exit is supposed to be signposted, you know?
Yeah.
You walk anywhere, should be nearest exit to the left or to the right, whichever one's closest. And there was nothing like that anywhere. I mean, there's no maps or guides where things are supposed to be. You couldn't find anything. And that Lee guy, whatever his name was, has been on Twitter saying that, there was a barbecue there, there was a hog roast there. There was nothing around. They weren't there.
Was there not? You couldn't see it?
No. I mean, the one good thing that I found was there's an ale. Normally you go to festivals, it's all lager and it's like £7 a pint of rubbish.
Yeah.
There's an ale for £4 a pint. I was quite happy with that. But not the fact that it took me an hour to get one.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, when I go to concerts and stuff, and I go to the bar to get soft drinks and stuff, you expect to queue for a bit.
Yeah.
But an hour does sound excessive. Did you do what I used to do in those situations? When you're queuing up, and after about 20 minutes, you think, I might as well get 2 or 3 pints in one go.
Well, you had to, but the problem was there was no queuing system, so it's like everybody piled against. You go to a pub at night and it's like 2 or 3 of you stood in a little queue at the bar. It was like that, but going 20 people back.
Yeah.
And it was all the way along, and there's like 15, 20 servers, so it's just a mound of people. You got your 6 drinks, and then you turn around and you just got a wall of people, and you can't get out without spilling half of it.
Yeah.
There's just no organisation how to get in and out.
What were the good bits, Simon? Give us the good bits.
Well, I like the pizza.
Oh, man.
Can't beat a nice pizza with jalapenos on. And the ale was nice. I mean, the bands are great, but I miss most of the bands. I did miss most of the bands, just for queuing.
Yeah.
Whether it's Mrs. going to the loo or whether it's me trying to get some more beer, you just couldn't hear anything. And the music bleed between the 2 stages was rubbish.
Yeah, this was a thing. Yeah, that you could hear both bands at the same time.
You could. Well, if you were stood near the back of the main stage where you could see a big screen, you couldn't actually hear the main stage because you got the stage to your left, to the second stage, and that's all you could hear. So it was just like Embrace and missed the whole thing. I was looking forward to Embrace, but I couldn't get down further enough to listen. So it was just like, what's the point? We went off and sat on the grass for a half hour because you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Seemed pointless. I mean, the idea is great. I think one stage would have been brilliant, but having the 3 was just ridiculous.
But still, those pizzas, huh?
Yeah, they were great. I loved it. I got 3 pizzas in one day. What more do you want? 3 pizzas and 6 beers. It was brilliant.
Simon's living the dream. Thank you, mate. He's living the dream. 03444 499 1000. Oh, Eloise is back. Hello, Eloise.
Hi, I'm back.
Eloise. Go on. So what were you saying?
I was saying about the security issues. We'd taken our young son as well. He's 3, and we thought Liverpool, very friendly city.
Yeah.
It was billed as a huge family event. And then when things, obviously, as other callers have said, started to go wrong, we thought we need to get him out of here. And we went to another sort of exit we saw, and we said, can we get him out here? And they said, no, because the fence has been cable tied together and screwed into the floor.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Come on, guys!
Even if we could get out, you know, if the emergency exit, you couldn't go through and there were actually signs, but they were all stashed underneath the disabled viewing platform.
I've seen the picture. Of them.
And they say tiny cow on them, which I think he said had nothing to do with
Yeah, and someone pointed that out to me on Twitter after he'd gone, that the signs were there. It just sounds like an absolute balls up, doesn't it?
It was, and it's like, my husband and I managed to find a safe-ish spot on the wall behind a fence, because we thought if it kicks off in the main area, we've got a brick wall to protect us, and we've got space to run. But then men would come up to the wall and say, "Is it all right if I pee up here?" And
sorry,
like, no.
Where you were sat?
Yeah.
Oh, you dirty dogs!
And they were weeing in cups and just putting them in the bin because they couldn't be bothered to go to the toilet because it was so long.
Oh, that's disgusting! Come on, guys.
So the whole thing is a shambles.
How was good? Yeah, but the bands were good. Did your 3-year-old have a good time? Did your 3-year-old pick up on the this kind of scariness of it, or was everything all right?
He went after the pigeon detectives because he was starting to get a bit.
Yeah.
But we were just trying to laugh with him about it, and just so he didn't try not to pick on us, pick up on it too much.
Yeah.
So. Because we want to take him to things like that in future.
Yeah, of course.
We don't want him to be scared.
Oh, it's such a joy, Eloise, taking your kiddies to bands that you used to like when you were younger. It's just a thrill.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping to do. And in a way, we were quite glad it was cancelled Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we were debating, do we go back or not? Because if we go back and something kicks off, then... But thankfully, the decision was taken out of our hands.
My 5-year-old is really into the Spice Girls at the moment, and I'm very happy with that because I like a bit of Spice Girls. So we listened to it, and I watched Spice World for the first time this weekend with.
Oh dear!
No, I know, but there are a couple of bits. The Richard Bryars bit where he's like a bishop and he's going, "Well, I can't believe the Spice Girls have questioned whether the Pope is actually a Catholic or not." It's really funny, but, and I've taken them to see the Beach Boys and the Monkees and all this kind of stuff because I'm into my 60s music. But someone said, "Oh, there's a Spice Girls tribute act playing near you in a couple of weeks." So I've booked tickets to go and see a Spice Girls tribute act with my 2 boys. And the joy of it is it's silly pop music, and we'll get up and we'll have a boogie, and it'll be a laugh. And that's what it should be when you take your kids to concerts.
Definitely, and I'm sure you won't be penned in on 3 sides like we all were.
No, we're in a very posh theatre.
And I know lots of people on Facebook as well are upset there was no hog roast, and they're all saying, where was the hog roast? So that's one thing we want to know.
My favourite question, right, was because it was supposed to be Victoriana themed, and there was talk of a fancy dress competition and a prize of £1,000. And I posted on one of the Facebook groups that's been set up something like, hopefully I'll be speaking to Lee on the show. What questions have you got? And my favourite, how do we get a refund? What about the signs? Why was it cancelled? My favourite question is, where was the penny farthing?
Yes, that as well.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to ask Lee about the lack of penny farthing, Eloise.
Oh, maybe we can do that on Twitter.
We'll do it again.
I'm sure it had a flat tyre or something.
I'm sure it did. Listen, Eloise, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you sharing that with us. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. This is the Late Night Alternative with me, Iain Lee, on Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We'll get you talking.
Hey. Do you know what? I'm hungry. Hungry, man. I'm hungry. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I'm discombobulated as well because I'm in a different studio because when I joined Talk Radio, one of the selling points was we're going to have high-definition cameras in the studio. And now, almost 18 months later, those high-definition cameras in the studio are being installed just before we move to new studios. That's what's happening. 0344 499 1000. Good evening, Richard.
Hello.
Hello, Richard.
This festival thing sounds pretty much identical to a festival I went to a couple of years ago in London. We got there were sort of all kind of grand promises, and we got there, and it was very dangerous. At one point, I said to my friend and said, "Look, it's dangerous to get up here," and then the police came and cancelled it, and then the second day it was cancelled. But getting your money back is actually surprisingly easy if you push the issue with your bank. If you pay by card. If you pay by credit card, it's very easy. You just ring your credit card company and say...
if it's over £100?
No, so that's the thing for debit cards. But that's the law thing to do. That's by law. But Visa and MasterCard have their own promises, and your banks sort of try and hide it from you.
Right.
But if you push the issue with them and say, "Look, I want to go through to the Visa chargeback team,"
yes.
They'll send you they'll give you an address and post the proof that it was cancelled and get the money back.
I don't have a credit card.
No, that's true. If you've got a credit card, then you're really legally protected. You just phone your credit card company and say, if you've got a debit card, they'll try and tell you you're not protected, but you actually are, just through the Visa and MasterCard scheme.
What? But here's the thing, though. But protected for what exactly?
Anything, if you purchase something and you don't get what you intended to purchase. So what I did was I phoned up at the time because what will happen, I imagine, in the next few days, the company will go into administration, and ticket holders will become creditors.
Well, hang on, Richard. We don't know that. We don't know that that's what's going to happen, and we can't even. No, Richard. For goodness sakes, man, you don't know how libel works. No. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if the company's going to go into liquidation. We have no idea. And we can't then just go, oh, well, hypothetically, because you've now addressed that that's what the situation is. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the company stays solvent. There is no hint of them going into liquidation at all whatsoever. And, as I said, Lee has come on the show and has talked to us and has been as honest and as open as he feels appropriate to be. So I don't want to follow that kind of train of thought. Thank you. Evening, Jerry.
Hello.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Okay. I was just that TV. I was thinking of me. Got some lyrics. Like to sing just one verse. The gospel, please.
Now, Jerry, listen. Let me put my cards on the table. Not only I'm struggling to understand you a bit, and also I'm in a different studio where my headphones are different, and which is making it even harder for me to hear all of the other callers. So it's been amazing that I've managed to pull off yet again a brilliant show, despite the fact I can't really hear things very well. So take your time, take a deep breath, and let's be having you.
She dreams of 1969.
Here we go.
Before the soldiers came.
Yes.
Life was cheap on bread and wine.
Yes.
And sharing had no shame.
He sings, I can understand him.
By the screams of rockets flying from nearby. And too scared she clings onto her dreams. To beat the fear that she might die. He will have won when the soldiers have gone. From the Lebanon to the clear.
Well, I can understand you when you're singing. Yes,
it's amazing.
Yes,
I've just got to sing all the time. He will have been the soldiers. I'm happy. People can understand me.
But this is what we found a cure. By the way, Lee on Twitter is now having a go at me.
Contract law, basic contract law.
Shame you didn't let me answer a single question without interrupting the answer, though, Ian. Okay, Lee.
No,
what?
It's full moon tonight, you know.
I can't understand you, man. Sing it.
Full moon tonight.
It's a full moon tonight.
People go crazy.
All right, Shaky. Sure, well, there you go. Shaky by name, Shaky by nature.
Thank you.
Worse, doesn't it?
Why are you in the new studio, Mr. Lee?
Because they're installing the high-definition cameras that they said they would 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jerry, can I cut you off?
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. My touch screen doesn't work particularly well either. Good evening, Rob.
Hi.
Hey, Rob, what you got for us?
Well, I was at the festival, and it was a complete nightmare, to be honest. We spent £400 in total because we came over from Leeds. We got a hotel, and then so when we turned up, we queued for an hour to get in. When we actually got to the front, there were only 2 people checking tickets, which I think is the real reason the queuing took so long to get in.
Yeah.
My wife didn't even have a bag checked properly. She was offering it to them, and they didn't even want to check it.
Yeah.
We got in after about 5 hours. We actually found out where the urinals were. There was no signage at all. the barriers.
You didn't have cross legs for those 5 hours, did you, Rob?
No. I queued for a lose, but it was like that added time for both me and the ladies.
Yeah.
When they could have just been assigned to the urinals, which were hidden behind another block of toilets.
Oh,
they also put a block of toilets at the back, but they leaned over, so they self-locked, so they couldn't be used. There's loads of other things. We talked to a steward who didn't have a radio.
By the way, none of this is surprising me now. You know, I've got. Oh, you could tell me that there were, people running around with swords, and I'd go, yeah, okay, it sounds about right. Honestly, none of this is surprising me anymore.
The thing about it is, though, that actually the people of Liverpool did themselves proud because people could have kicked off, and they really didn't. They were really calm, and actually got on with it. So I think they deserve a lot of credit, really. I mean, I was really quite impressed. But what really gets my goat is the next day. All right, it's a massive cock-up. They made a huge mistake.
Are you late, Rob? Sorry, are you falling down a hole? You're getting more and more muffled and echoier and echoier.
It's really echoey on my line, and I don't know why.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to move you. Sometimes if I move you there, try now.
Yeah, that's much better. No, wait a minute, it's returned.
Oh, hang on, let me try one more. I'm trying to switch you. How about that?
No, it's still the same.
Oh, balls. Balls!
Never mind.
But I mean, did you have an all right time?
Star Sailor were amazing, and they were great.
Yeah.
So they made it really good. I got fairly drunk. It was a bit of a laugh. I was disappointed that James' set got cut short, and so did Badly Drawn Boy. But yeah, it was all right. It could have been worse.
Yeah, well, it could have been a lot worse, judging from what we've heard. Rob, listen, I appreciate your call. Thank you, man. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Lots of new listeners this evening, and lots of people on Periscope and on Twitter and all of that stuff. I should just say, if I'm here, when am I here? Let me work this out. Yes, weeknights from 10 o'clock at night. Every weeknight, 10 o'clock at night. There is a podcast available of the show. If you go to iTunes, and normally it's a bit more light-hearted than this. Normally we just mess around a bit and have a laugh. But as I say, I saw this story yesterday on Twitter, and the more I would have ignored it had it not been for a tweet from the Hope and Glory Twitter feed having a go at Tim Booth from James. That was the thing I thought, I think this could be a car crash. I kind of texted Kath and said, have a look at this. I think we might have something here. And I'm glad we did. I'm really glad we did. Because there were so many of you have been affected and have been upset by it. And it'd be really interesting to see what happens with the refunds. We got to talk to one of the bands earlier on today before the show. We've had so many people get in touch, we had to pre-record some stuff. And Reverend and the Makers, right, who, I'll be honest, I've heard their name, right? I hadn't listened that much. I was aware of them. And they were one of the bands that was due to play on Sunday. They are brilliant, actually, because I was watching loads of their videos on YouTube today, and they're excellent. Here's the thing. They're a really good-looking band. Proper, dishy, good-looking, young men. That kind of annoys me. But we spoke to John from Reverend and the Makers, who was supposed to play on Sunday, and this is what he had to say about it. Nice to talk to you. You were at Hope and Glory. What day were you playing, or were you supposed to be playing?
Well, I never actually knew. We were supposed to be playing on a Sunday, and we're about to set off. And we saw that the festival had been cancelled. I had no contact from the festival itself, and we merely just found out on social media.
So what you saw? Are you one of the people that saw a tweet and it said that the show's off, no festival?
Yeah, obviously they're supposed to let us know and stuff, and we were heading to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Got us tour bus full of gear, everybody sat on board waiting to travel over there. And one of the lads, I think it was a drummer, Ryan, he says, have you seen this on Facebook? It's cancelled. You know, just absolute amateur hour.
You do stuff like this all the time, festivals and gigs and stuff around the world. Is this one of the worst organised that you've been involved with?
Yeah, but then I've done several others that are terribly organised.
Where have you gone? John, where have you gone?
I'm here.
What are you doing?
I'm
Stop
here.
moving the phone, man, for goodness sakes.
I'm there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, brother, yes.
Basically, you know, we do these festivals a lot, but as I put on, I wrote a little kind of open letter thing on my Twitter today, basically arguing that we keep hearing from government and from various other people that the music industry is booming, but it's not booming. It's booming for 20 pop stars. The reality is most bands have got nowhere near as much money as they used to have because of a variance of factors, you know, the internet being the prime one, but also the decline of print media, the way the radio behaves. So bands basically take gigs like this because the money's good.
Yeah.
The problem is the money's coming from amateurs and sometimes, you know, even gangsters and people like that. And these people have got very little concern for health and safety. It's only a matter of time before somebody's going to get hurt, you know.
Now, and I've just got to say, for legal reasons, I have no suspicion, you know, no suggestions that the gentleman that organised this is a gangster in any way. But yeah, no, you did. I read the thing that you wrote earlier on and posted on Twitter, and you're right. You know, no one buys records. Everyone thinks that music is free now. Why would anyone pay for music these days? And you're worried that these events, these festivals, are just getting put on by people who want to make a few easy quids, but not really that bothered about the actual event and the safety of the event.
I just think that we as a country aren't looking after our culture. It's a bit of a deep point, this, but it stands. We're not looking after our culture. You know, the last rock and roll band who were capable of headlining a big festival are probably the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
I mean, check out Ed. Ed's a lovely lad, but he's a pop star, right?
Yeah.
Rock and roll bands, which this country's famous for, it's 11 years since the Arctic Monkeys came out, and they're the last ones who are capable of headlining a major festival in this country. That tells its own story, and I think if you look at, you know, the whole of the music industry, a lot of musicians, this is why you're seeing all these reformations, because a lot of people are skimmed, because they used to be able to, like, make records and sit around for 2 years and be millionaires, but it don't really work like that anymore. And like any industry, boxing or whatever it is, like, you know, there's a lot of, like, murky money comes into it when it gets to that stage, because musicians are willing to do things to pay them rent, ultimately, you know.
You're not suggesting that Reverend and the Makers are turning tricks, are you?
I'm not suggesting that, mate, no, but, you know, if you'd need must and stuff, might have to tell anybody, you know.
And you're a very beautiful band. I've been spent all afternoon watching your videos online. You're all very beautiful, I certainly would. Anyway, we've got, hopefully...
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Hopefully, this has turned out different than I expected, I'll be honest. Hopefully, we've got the organiser coming on, Leo Hanlon, who's going to come on the show tonight. Is that the guy that you were dealing with?
Yeah, listen, I've spoke to the fella and he seemed like a thoroughly nice bloke.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not suggesting he's a gangster either, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I am saying is that there's a lot of people coming into doing these festivals who haven't necessarily got the experience, and what this geezer needs to stop doing is blaming everyone else.
Yeah.
Because it's making people more angry, you know, the Twitter feed last night. He's feeding the kind of anger.
Oh, he's gone on Twitter in the last 20 minutes to say that wasn't him on Twitter last night. That was another member of the team.
Whoever it is, you know, if my drummer, like, I don't know, assaulted someone while we're at a gig, it makes my band look bad. You understand what I mean? It's his festival. He's got to take responsibility for it. And I just think, like, up and down this country, there's a lot of endeavours happening in music. We get offered all sorts of stuff, and you just think, who's putting money up for this? Because you need $1 million to put something like this on.
Yeah.
So you just think to yourself, who's putting this on, and where's this money coming from? And it doesn't sit well with me that, like, in a city like Liverpool, which has suffered so much with, you know, badly managed public events. I grew up a mile from Hillsborough. I know this stuff only too well. I was part of the Justice campaign. This is in Liverpool. In 2017, we're having an event that's like too many people with. And there's a danger of a crush. Come on.
I tell you what was great, because I'm really keen to make sure that, you know, that Liverpool comes out of this well. What's great is the number of smaller venues that kind of stepped up to the plate once they realised it had been cancelled.
Oh, brilliant!
They reached out to all the bands and said, "Look, you can come and play here. Well, if people have got wristbands, they can come in and watch." And so there was loads of that going on, which was good.
It's a brilliant city, mate, Liverpool. You know, and like Zanzibar and Magnet and all other venues, you know, they were all tweeting out. And I believe if we'd have actually got to Liverpool, I'd give all my crew day off as soon as I found out it was cancelled. If we'd have gone there, I would have loved to have played because I love that city and the beautiful people, you know, and frankly, they deserve better than this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we've been over there, we played a festival called Liverpool Echo in the bombed out church a few years back. Beautiful event, everybody had a good time. It can happen. We have a festival in his own city, Tramlines, you know, massive success. People love it, brings thousands of people into the city centre. You can do this, and it can work. Just don't put profit over people's safety. That's what I would say, you know.
What are you lot up to now, then? You've had the weekend off. Are you busy at the moment?
We are, mate. We've just made a new album that we made in Thailand. We're doing all the festivals. We've got a couple of singles out. Got an album out in September. Little tour coming up. Bit of Europe. And, yeah, it's all good, mate. It's a good time to be alive. We're doing well.
What the hell were you doing recording it in Thailand?
Well, it's just a great way of wasting your record label's money. And, you know, we're all a bit older. We've all got kids, so it's like we can have an holiday out of it.
Oh, I see.
We did
right.
Jamaica last time.
Yeah. Oh,
Thailand this time.
Hang on a minute. There's you saying that there's no music no money in the music industry. Hey, there's no music in the music industry. There's a thing, and you're jetting off around the world.
Yeah, but listen, the reality is not like,
no, of
you
course.
know, we had like 2 weeks. It'll be like Skegness next week, next album. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... No, listen, I do all right, mate. I've got a nice gaff. I live in a nice part of Sheffield. But what I'm saying is, 20 years ago, I'd have been a millionaire and I wouldn't have to, like, worry about anything. And musicians are in a place where if their band stops, they can live happily ever after. So they've got to go out and take gigs, you know. And I think... You know, some musicians, not me particularly, but some musicians are a bit skint. You know what I mean? They need money, and therefore they're sort of vulnerable to being booked on sort of like really dodgy things. You know.
John, listen, I really appreciate you talking to us. Next time you're in London, then you'll have to come in the studio.
Top man, look forward to that, mate.
Nice one, fella. Take care, man. Bye bye.
Okay, dude. Bye bye.
The wild man of late night radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee
on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Liam, I've just sent the money for the ticket I said I'd pay, 90 quid. I've sent that via PayPal, and I'm just working out how I can send a private message to @HopeAndGloryFests with an S, because he has, Leah said on Twitter that he'll give you the other 90 quid. So I've just then said, what? Hang on, what have I just said? Why not pay for both tickets and refund me the 90 quid? So let's see where this goes. It's not really my position to be refunding people for a festival, but he's a young lad. I've just seen his Facebook profile. He's a young lad, and 90 quid is a lot of money to a young lad, and to me it's a fair few quid, but it's all right. That was John McCure from... Reverend and the Makers, who were due to play on Sunday, and I think that next time they're in London we should get them on the show, because I think that would be a lot of fun. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you can call in about absolutely anything. I'm going to be honest, I haven't looked at a newspaper at all. I haven't looked at a newspaper at all today, so... I don't really know what's going on in the world. Shall we have a little look in the papers and see if we can find something? I mean, there could be, let's have a little look. There's the, Diana sex tapes man. Let's try and find something. There's Pamela Anderson in a bikini. Dragons. Here we go. Dragon's Den stars Peter Jones and Theo Paphitis. I once convinced a friend of mine that Theo Paphitis made his money by inventing hummus. The lies I've told about Dragon's Den, that Theo Paphitis had invented hummus, and that's why he was so rich, and that the gentleman that presents it is blind, because he looks blind, doesn't he? He looks blind, and then my friend said, "Well, how does he know where to look at the camera?" And I said, "Well, it's very simple. What they do is during rehearsals they put a bell on the camera, and they ring the bell for him." Evan Davis, that's his name, isn't it? They ring the bell and he looks where the bell is. And they do it 2 or 3 times, and so he learns exactly where to look, and then when they're doing a take, they don't ring the bell. Here's something that I think is true. It may be libellous, but it may be true. I'm going to take a punt on this one. Pierce nipples. Yeah, it's true. I'm getting a thumbs up from Catherine. She is the Pierce nipples correspondent. He's got Pierce nipples. Twinkle tits, they call him, is his nickname. Twinkle tits. You can't see them. Where can you see them? Oh, through his shirt. I thought if you gave him a fiver, he'd show you. Like John Barrowman. Theo Paphitis and Peter Jones lost nearly £33,000 in a scam. The tycoons who use the TV show catchphrase, "I'm out," are they still on it? I think Peter Jones is the only original dragon left. Were hit by a bent accountant forging cheques at their firm Red Letter Days. Red Letter Days, of course, was owned by a lady who was one of the dragons, so she was one of the dragons. She owned Red Letter Days, and it went bust, or it was going bust, so Paphitis and Jones bought her out. Isn't that amazing? They didn't show that on the telly, though. Finance Officer Akilan Selvathiravam. Akilan Selvathiravam. 34 was facing... a bit boring. Just going through the page. Here is where I'm realising that yes. Oh, sure. I've put in a lot of preparation for the first 2.5 hours of the show. Yes, come in, Catherine, please, for God's sakes. But for the last 30 minutes, absolutely zero prep. Absolutely zero preparation. Find something. 2 paedophiles have got married in prison. Oh. Okay. Top Shop and Cop Shop. Top Shop heiress. But boring. Oh, Brian Conley's going to be on Strictly Come Dancing. I like Brian Conley. It's about time he had a bit of luck. Don't know why I say that.
We tried to get him on, didn't we? And he didn't respond.
No, and then he went on that show with Bob Mills. He went on the Bob Mills show. He wouldn't come on our show, but he went on...
Tragedy plus Time.
Equals... Where are you on that camera? Oh, you're there. You can
no, we can't see both of us.
It doesn't matter. They can have a look at you.
Oh, no, they don't want to see me.
Oh, Catherine, I think you underestimate what the internet wants. They don't want some bloke who's some middle-aged, grey-haired has-been. They want a bit of flange.
Oh, flipping heck. When are
you 40? Because it's this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
When is it?
It's the 12th.
The 12th.
Uh-huh.
You'll be 40 years old. You'll be officially a gilf.
What?
What are you, gonna...
Only on certain estates.
Sorry?
I'm not a gilf.
A grandma that I'd like to...
be friends with.
What are you going to be doing for your birthday?
Eating.
You're not doing that thing that girls do and you're taking the night off work, are you?
No.
Good.
My birthday's on a Saturday, so actually, yeah. I'm doing the thing that both girls and boys do.
I don't get that. That used to happen a lot when we were at the local radio.
No, I think once you go to school, that's it for having days off.
All the kids would. I'm not in tomorrow. Where are you? Oh well, it's my birthday.
Grow up.
For goodness sakes, what are you talking about? You absolute slackers.
Well, what's going to happen to them? They're going to be carried around on a sedan chair, fanned by, oiled up members of the opposite sex. For heaven's sake, it's just another day. Crack on.
The papers are full of sad stories. I don't want to read that one. That one's too sad. That's the Sun done. Well...
The Sun is an excellent newspaper.
But today, you have let us down mightily. I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick break.
Uncut, after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee
on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Okay. Well, I listen. I don't know why. In a fit of pique or exuberance, I offered to give someone 90 quid refund for their ticket. I don't know why it's down to me. So I've done it. Liam, I've just seen him on Facebook. I paid him via PayPal. Good for him. And now I'm trying to get Lee to let me know how I can give him the email address for PayPal, because he said on air he would do it as well.
Yeah.
But he's
gone
busy.
quiet.
He's not gone quiet. He's gone the opposite. First of all, someone said, "I'd be careful with this one refund. Is it against what the directors might say?" And he's gone, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Please advise. So if he gives one refund, someone might say, and then he's just saying that I didn't allow him to answer the question. You still didn't answer the question. Sadly, weren't allowed to after remaining on air for 50 minutes.
He did say a lot of things.
It's a lot.
He did say a lot of things. Anyway, he didn't put the phone down.
Well, now people are having a go at me because I said something about the sun. For goodness sakes, guys. For goodness sakes.
No, I think he's having a go at me. I said it.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Ah, dearie me. How about the Daily Mirror? Evening, Kyle. Oh, no, my touchscreen's not as sensitive as I would like. Evening, Kyle.
Evening, boss. You all right?
I'm all right, thank you, fella. What you got for us?
Yeah, I just wondered what your beef was with Pierce Nips.
You've not, have you?
I might have.
Oh, you dirty dog!
It was a long time ago.
Yes.
And I can't face taking it out now. It's part of me.
What, both of them?
Just the one.
You're a sex criminal.
Why?
Have you ever had someone tie rope through them and pull them?
No, but when I had, my illness,
yes,
and they had to do lots of MRI scans and everything, they were very funny about putting me in the MRI scanner, because they were like, well,
Don't get involved. Hang on, Catherine, don't get involved.
Right.
Just don't get involved, because they're good. Here's the thing, Kyle. People are having a go at me because I mentioned The Sun, which happened to be the newspaper that I was holding, and because we have a lot of people from Liverpool listening tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, The Sun and Liverpool have a terrible, terrible relationship after The Sun printed lies, about Hillsborough. Absolute lies and horrible, horrible slurs on poor, innocent victims. It's one of our... turn your headphones down, because one of our headphones is causing a little buzz. I think it might be mine, but I've turned them right down. So loads of people going, I was enjoying the show, and now I'm switching off because you mentioned The Sun and you're an arse and all of that. It wasn't a foot in mouth. Paul's telling me I want to Google The Sun and Liverpool. No, I know the relationship. It's not a foot in mouth. I'm sorry, guys. This is a national station, and I'm glad we got loads of people listening to us from Liverpool, and it's brilliant, and we love Liverpool, and we spent all night bigging up Liverpool. But just because I mention a newspaper that I understand why it's considered toxic to you, of course I don't. Not in any way demeaning that in the slightest. But if you're going to start sending me abuse just because the first paper I picked up was The Sun and it didn't have any stories in, and so I threw it on the floor. I mean, guys, I don't know what more you want from me. So no, Paul, it wasn't a foot in mouth by me at all. And Colin, I mean, for goodness sakes, man, what do you expect me to say? Don't put all of your justifiable anger about The Sun on me. For goodness sakes, Colin and Paul, if you're going to switch off just because I said that, despite the fact the first 2.5 hours of this show has been bloody brilliant, and I've been standing up in your corner and fighting Liverpool's corner all night and making sure we did the best show we could do, that not only highlighted this injustice that you suffered over the weekend, but also made a big point of celebrating how wonderful your city is. If really you're switching off because of that, dearie me. Kyle, you see what you've done?
Oh, it's my fault.
This is what happens when you introduce sex games into the conversation.
Have you not got your little sex crime clip?
Well, I have, but because we're in a different studio, it's gonna sound like this. Tinny.
You can't plug in.
It's gonna sound tinny.
It cancelled Brexit.
You see? So...
They kind of work, but please don't play Johnson to me.
It cancelled Brexit.
Okay.
No.
Well, and then you see, you've been a bad boy, Kyle, and that's what you get. That's what you get, Kyle. You get this.
It cancelled Brexit.
Yeah, hello. Who is that?
Is Kyle gone?
Yes, I've cut him off.
Your nip skin's very, very delicate. I wouldn't want anyone messing with that, would you?
Oh God, no! What do they call it? Your areole?
Well, that's the bit around that's your sort of target area.
We did a great phone-in on the Virgin show. Someone suggested, I don't remember who it was. People that don't look right when they're not wearing glasses. It's a great
like our
phone-in.
mate Paul Scoins.
Our mate Paul Scoins. It just looks like it's like a blank face.
A couple of times Deirdre Barlow went without her specs and it was bizarre.
If you've ever seen Roy Orbison without glasses, that is wrong.
Not right.
That is so messed up.
And I saw
very dark.
What's his name? Not Chuck Berry. Oh, I love you, Peggy Sue. That one.
Oh, Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Who is that? Stop! Right, don't move. Is it me? It might be me. Don't move. Right, now you move. Go closer. Get right.
He did it then when you spoke.
Get right up close. Say something.
Hello.
Talk normally.
Hello.
Why you not just talk normally, you idiot? Why are you not talking normally?
Because I don't know where you're
Well, yeah, I've noticed you do this, right? Whenever we go and do the Rabbit Hole Live and we do sound checks, right?
Yeah.
And so when you do a sound check, it's a bloke plugging in the mic, testing level. So you just got to keep talking at the level you'll be talking all the time and keep talking.
Yeah.
And they go, right, can you test your mic? You go, hello? Hello? And that's it. I'm just thinking, it really annoys me.
It's embarrassing, man.
Just keep talking, though.
Totally embarrassing.
Well, just let it go. Just let it go and talk. You can talk for flipping England.
I know, but most of it's not broadcastable, is it?
It is not broadcastable.
In it. Anyway, yeah, him.
Yeah.
Peggy Sue bloke looks weird without his specs on. Or did. R.I.P.
Dead now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. B.H. R.I.P. Who else was on that plane?
Big Bopper.
Yeah. Who else?
Richie Valens.
Yeah. Who else? The pilot.
Oh, yeah.
No one mentions the pilot. It'd be interesting to... I would read a book on the pilot of that plane. I would read a book written about that dude. Because I think that would be interesting. Long forgotten. Who was supposed to be on
someone
plane?
we know. Was it Dean Torrance?
No. I can't think who it was.
Someone swapped out, didn't he, at the last minute?
Yeah, someone who became big...
Wasn't Elvis, was it?
No, it wasn't Elvis. It wasn't... Why have I got Todd Rundgren in my head? It wasn't Todd Rundgren.
I don't know, because I saw La Bamba, and it was the bloke that swapped with Richie.
It's not Tom Petty, is it?
Nah. No.
Surely
he's not old enough.
Google doesn't exist. Who swapped with Richie Valens on that fateful night in the 1950s when they all died on a plane? Let's see what answer comes up. I like to be specific.
You asking Jeeves?
Yes, I am.
To be specific for him.
Okie dokie. Who they flipped a coin.
And who was it? Come on.
Oh. Come
on, Iain.
It was Dion.
Oh.
It was Dion.
'Cause he's a wanderer, a dirty wanderer. He goes in and out and up and down and round and round and round. Ah.
There's no proof of that. Dion. Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
All right, well, there is no proof of that.
'Cause he's a wanderer. A dirty wanderer. He goes in and out and round and up and down too. If you're lucky, he might give you a reach around.
All right, stop it. Stop it, that's someone's granddad.
'Cause he's a wanderer. A dirty wanderer.
Okay, there's nothing in the mirror. Nothing in the mirror, guys. Okay, Colin and I have reached peace on Twitter. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Colin. God rest ye merry Colin. Let nothing you dismay. For Jesus Christ, our Saviour.
Don't start on Jesus Christ. We've just managed to find some kind of equilibrium.
So...
I'm starving.
Yes?
I know we've been eating healthily and that, but...
I am absolutely... This is the problem with eating healthily.
Well, when we say eating healthily, we shared a portion of chips.
Yeah, I had a salad at Nando's.
And half of my chips.
And half of your chips, yes. That is correct.
I should have eaten the whole lot. That is jingling, that thing. Is that your stomach?
No.
Is it a throat gurgle?
Lee, final thing.
Oh.
And someone's tweeted him. You kept trying to answer different questions. Ian was simply trying to seek clarity on key issues with you. Those whose money you have. Incorrect, replied Lee. He repeatedly apologised for interrupting when challenged on it, then did the same again. I'm worried that guy's got my mobile phone number. That's my concern.
But you have his.
I don't want it. I'm expecting to get some phone calls over the next few days. Says here, you've got a big dick and you like sucking.
Oh, God!
That's what I'm expecting. Well,
if that happens, we'll faithfully report it.
We'll both... No. Let's see what's on offer first. Let's see what's on offer. Well, on that bombshell, I think it's probably time for our old boot heels to go wandering. Thank you very much for...
That's you.
You talk.
OK, I'm talking, and it's not jangling. Now you talk.
Up your bum.
There you go.
Balls to it. That's it. Back tonight at 10. Till then, from us, ta-ta!